Hello and good day, all of my lovely YouTubers, comment blowers, and let me knowers, and everyone that's part of the Francois T family. Hello and welcome to our next Charmed Show Chat. Very excited to be here. Tonight, we are going to be covering episodes 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and I'm very excited to do that. As a matter of fact, just before I came onto this chat, I was watching episode 17 and 18, and it was so great to be back in the Charmed world once again, especially watching episode 17. I forgot how special it was, and we found something out in episode 17 that I didn't even realize all these times that I've watched it. It's really interesting. The more you watch Charmed, the more you learn. It is certainly very, very, very true. If you are in the room, say hi, and I will definitely give you a shout out. Let's get ready to discuss this week's Charmed. Let's head over to the room and see what's going on. We have Alias is in the room saying hi. Hi, Alias. Thank you for joining us. And President A is here. President A says hi. All haven't seen the episodes, don't have access to Charmed, but keen to go down memory lane. Oh, fantastic. As long as you've watched them before and we're not spoiling them for you. I know there are some people out there that have seen these episodes but haven't seen all of them. One of those people is Skylar. I think she's up to season 5. So let's not spoil too much for everyone. But that certainly won't be the case here because we are discussing still season 1. Interesting thing to note that next week we will actually be concluding season 1 and moving on to season 2, which is going to be really, really awesome. All right, so shall we get right into it? Actually, before we do, I just want to say this. We are going to be doing a general Hangouts chat as well in the second half of this video. So if you would like to be a part of that, then make sure that you have joined the comment below and let me know Facebook group, because I'll be putting the link up there onto the Facebook page a little later on in this chat. But before we do that, let's start talking about this week's episodes. And Sarah says she's a bit quiet tonight, so she won't be as talkative as usual, but she's still joining in. Oh, fantastic. Thank you for being here, Sarah. I really do appreciate it. Totally understand that you're going to be a little more quiet than normal, but thank you for being here nonetheless. All right, let's get into discussing it, shall we? So the first episode we're discussing is season 1, episode 13. And this episode is called From Fear to Eternity. Now, what's interesting about this episode is it's the 13th episode of the first season, and it talks about a demon that rises every Friday the 13th. This demon is known as the Demon of Fear, and his name is Barbas. Interestingly, for those of you who have watched Charmed before, Barbas is not a one-off demon. He does come back a couple of times. So this is our first meeting with Barbas. So let's talk about it a little bit, shall we? So we meet the demon Barbas, the demon of fear, and Barbas uses Prue's fear of drowning against her when she's in the shower. Very interesting scene, and goodness me, it's certainly, the first time I watched it, I actually freaked out the very next time I went into the shower. I was like, oh my gosh, if this guy just shows up and drowns me, I'll be like, yeah, that won't be good. He also uses Phoebe's fear of losing a sister against her when he traps her at a house. Phoebe ends up going out and getting a job at this group called N&T Properties, and Barbas, pretending to be one of the clients, calls her down to the property and traps her there, Prue having to come over and try and rescue her. But a very good moment in the episode is when Barbas throws Prue into the pool. They have a big swimming pool at the back of this property. And while she's in the water, she sees her mum. Her mum appears to her and tells her to believe in the strongest of all powers, which is love. And Prue does, and her mum helps her get to the surface, and they end up defeating Barbas. Now, as I say, spoiler alert, they don't permanently vanquish Barbas, but they do defeat him for that Friday the 13th. So what did you think of this episode, Charmed Season 1, Episode 13, From Fear to Eternity? Comment below and let me know. Let's get back to what people are saying. Alice is saying, I'll see if I can join the Hangout. Excellent, it'd be great to have you there. Sarah says, I love Barbas, actually. He's just a really interesting demon. I never really particularly liked Barbas, but then again, I think it was because of the sort of demon that he was. He really creeped me out. So they did really well in casting with this guy. I don't know his name, but they did a great job with casting him, because he always used to freak me out. But yeah, there you go. He did have a good, I don't want to say following, but there were a lot of people that did like him, and that's why they kept bringing him back, because people did like him. And the writers and directors and all that, they loved the demon itself, like having a demon of fear that could just keep appearing. So it made a lot of sense in bringing him back all those times. But so we'll certainly have a lot more discussions on Barbas. This is the first, but it is definitely not going to be the last. Did anyone have any favourite moments from this episode at all? It's interesting. I don't remember, because obviously it was a few episodes ago, so I'm still remembering season 17 and 18 at the moment. But does anyone remember if Piper's fear is used against her? Because I don't remember Piper having a fear used against her. Certainly Phoebe did, Prue did with drowning, and then again, well, he tried to kill Prue by going against Phoebe's fear, but I don't remember Piper's fear being used against her. Sarah says, he creeped me out too, playing on people's fears, but that's why he's so interesting. Kill them with their own fears, basically. He has a lot of presence. It's a very good point. Speaking of Barbas and how he kills, obviously it's about people's fears. I find it interesting that every single time Barbas reads a person or a witch or whatever their fear, he moves his hand over them to read their fear, and every time he does it, the person can't move. Whether he's holding them or not, they don't move. So my question is, I wonder if he actually freezes them while he's reading them, or if they're just shocked and they don't move. That every single time he does that, the person stands there. Where if it was me and I had free will, I'd probably run away. But there you go. Sarah says, I remember Piper's fear in later episodes, but not in this particular one. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think he did use any of her fears. I think we probably would have remembered if that was the case, but it's interesting that Piper gets to get away with it while Prue and Phoebe do not. All right, any other comments on Season 1, Episode 13, From Fear to Eternity, before we move on to Season 1, Episode 14? I'm very happy that we do 6 episodes a week, because we can discuss so many different episodes at once. Sarah says, I feel like he's bringing all their fears to the forefront, so maybe they are frozen in fear. There you go. So it wasn't ever really explained, and I think that's sort of what got to me about questioning it. But it does make sense that they would be frozen at the time while it's happening. All right, let's move on, shall we, to the next one. This one is called Season 1, Episode 14, Secrets and Guys. Now, this is not my favorite episode in the series, and it has to do with the storyline more than anything else. I really just didn't enjoy the storyline, and rather than there being demons in this episode, the demons were more like mortal criminals, and I think that was a big part of why I didn't like it. But let's get into discussing this, and hopefully you guys will remember the episode. So Prue ends up getting a distress call from a boy named Max, who has the power of psychokinesis. So basically he can move things like Prue, but unlike Prue, what he can move is things that he can't see. So these criminals find out that he can obviously do this, and they want to use his power to turn off alarms so they can rob a bank. I mean, it's interesting and it's good exposure for psychokinesis, but the actual episode itself I found to be quite boring. So Max is basically forced to help these guys commit the robbery, and yeah, it's really weird. Prue ends up finding him, and they both get caught, and both have to try and deal with this robbery. And I honestly didn't like that. But there is one big thing that happens in this episode that is rather monumental, and I wish they'd spent more time discussing this than what actually happened in the episode with Max. Phoebe comes home to find Leo cleaning the chandelier, and he is hovering while he's cleaning the chandelier. Obviously, Phoebe starts freaking out, going, "Oh my god, I thought you were immortal. Are you a demon?" And she really starts freaking out. What's funny is that Leo comes crashing back down to the floor holding a light globe. And the funny part is that he's holding a light globe. And while he holds this light globe, he says, "No, no, I'm not a demon. I'm a white lighter." Really weird. But anyway, so it's the first time, excuse me, that we find out that Leo is a white lighter. And this is what I've been waiting for this whole time. I've been waiting to talk about Leo as a white lighter. A white lighter is a guardian for witches. But what's really interesting is that Phoebe, at the end of the episode, when Prue and Max get out of the debacle there, in which I'm really not going to spend too much time discussing, Phoebe tries to tell the others about Leo, but they don't believe her, which is really interesting. And she doesn't try and do anything to make them believe her. But big episode because of Leo. So what did you guys think of this episode? Comment below and let me know, and I'll get back to some of these comments, because we're getting some more comments coming in now. So Angel says, "Yeah, hi Angels, thank you for joining us." Angel says, "Hello, I made it, if only for a bit anyway, as I've got some annoying birthday thing I have to go to. But we'll stay here till the last minute." Well, thank you, Angels. We really appreciate you being here. Alias says, "Your description is wrong, I think." Oh, is it, Alias? What did I get wrong? Do you want to correct it? Certainly feel free. I mean, I'm only human. Maybe I have made a mistake. Let me know what I've said wrong there. Sarah says, "I think that's the only interesting part of the episode, Leo being revealed as a white lighter." Yeah, exactly. If not for that part of the episode, then I feel like the episode is like, completely invaluable. Like, we don't need it at all. But a huge reveal with Leo being a white lighter. President A says, "I actually remember that episode. I loved Leo. Yay!" That's awesome. So it's interesting because since then, we either haven't seen Leo in this frame of time that we're up to from 13 to 18. We either haven't seen Leo, or the other girls don't know he's a white lighter or something like that. It's all very, very weird. So hopefully we're going to get to a point where we do have Leo come back. I mean, obviously we will, but hopefully sooner rather than later, and have Leo back in the capacity of being a white lighter. Alias, you make a very good point. I saw what your message said. On comment below and let me know. It says that we're doing episodes 12 to 18, but I did make a correction on that post saying that I got it wrong. We actually did 12 last week. We discussed 12, which was the Wendigo. So we are up to episode 13, and that's why the title of this show here on YouTube is 13 to 18, because that is where we are up to. President A is saying, "So this episode was filler." I think basically it was filler, with the exception of finding out about Leo, which was huge. Like, it was a massive deal and it was glossed over, and I don't like that it was glossed over. Maybe the producers and all that and the writers just wanted to see how everyone would handle the whole white lighter idea. But aside from that, I feel like it was a filler episode. Does anyone have any other comments regarding Season 1, Episode 14, Secrets and Guys, before I move on? Well, if you do, let me know. Otherwise, I will move over to the next one, which is kind of interesting. I feel like it gets better from here on out, the episodes. So this next episode, Season 1, Episode 15, is entitled, "Is There a Woogie in the House?" And just quickly, Angel's saying, "No tech support today, I don't think, by the way." Yeah, I haven't noticed Ben in the room yet. But if he does come, that would be great. But so far, yeah, he's not here, Angels. So we'll have to see. Is There a Woogie in the House, Season 1, Episode 15. So now, the great way to remember this is all in the title, in the word woogie. There is a woogie man that's in the basement. So here we go. Phoebe is possessed by the woogie man. She used to be scared of going into the basement because of this Woogie Man, which was Boogeyman, but because she was a child, she would call it Woogie Man. And she goes down to the basement. She's actually ends up being possessed by this boogeyman, which is a demon that's usually held prisoner by the Nexus. Now, if you guys didn't know this, the house that the charmed ones live in, the manor, is actually built on a spiritual nexus. So the nexus was usually holds this boogeyman captive. So Prue brings clients to the house for a work function, and Phoebe ends up possessing one of the clients, or the boogeyman does, but anyway, ends up possessing one of the clients, which takes everything for an interesting turn of events. What saves the day, I think, for me, is the most interesting thing, and that is that Phoebe remembers, and I think Piper and Prue as well, but Phoebe remembers the most, Grant's telling them a story about the Woogieman. And it ends up that this story is actually a spell to defeat the Woogieman and put the Woogieman back into the Nexus. So fortunately, Phoebe ends up remembering the spell, or the story, which is actually a spell, through a premonition, and it ends up, she ends up being able to defeat the Woogieman and put it back down into the Nexus, which is good because it was really weird while the Woogieman took over. It made the house very evil. So what did you guys think of this episode? Season 1, episode 15, Is There a Woogie in the House? Let's have a look. Angel saying, I think that Ben is busy at work today. Yeah, he probably is. We'll see if he comes later on when we do the general chat, but no problems at all if he's busy. It was great having him here last time. Sarah says, this one is pretty good, the Woogieman one, seeing Phoebe go a little dark. True. Now, warning, a little bit of a spoiler, later on in this series, Phoebe actually goes a little darker. And I do enjoy that season very, very, very much. I think it's season 4 where it happens, and I can't wait to discuss that. Seriously, if you want to rewatch it, I believe the episode is called Long Live the Queen. So if you've seen all of the other episodes, you've seen all of Charmed, go back and watch Long Live the Queen. That was my favorite. I like when Phoebe goes dark. Alias says, oh. What are we owing, Alias? Sarah says, Angels, did you end up having a practice? Oh, okay, yeah, so talking about the Hangouts. So it seems like people have been able to work out the Hangouts thing, which is fantastic. And we will get to that as soon as we've discussed all of this week's episodes. But it looks like that has been sorted out. And I know for a fact that it worked for Alias because I had a chat with Alias not too long ago. So that was really good, confirming that that all worked. And some people that weren't in the last Hangouts chat that I ended up having a chat with off screen, or off YouTube, I should say, yeah, it was great to see that they could get it to work. So there shouldn't be any problems this time, provided that you have the app, I believe. And as long as you have the app and you're signed in and then you get the link from our comment below and let me know Facebook page, we shouldn't have any problems this time, which is really, really awesome. Any other comments about, is there a Woogie in the house? Any other comments at all about that one? But yes, Sarah does make a point about Phoebe going a little dark, and I think it's the first time we've seen Phoebe go dark in the entire series. So that's really interesting. She does that really, really, really well. All right. If there are no more comments about that one, then I'll move on to Season 1, Episode 16. And Season 1, Episode 16 is an episode that I really enjoy, because I love what they did with it. So Season 1, Episode 16 is called Which Prue Is It Anyway? So a war demon named Gabriel and his sister are after the Charmed Ones and know their great-great-great aunt. Believe me, that is exactly what she was. She was their great-great-great aunt. I made sure to watch the episode to get it correct. Who could move things with her mind, just like Prue could, And she actually ended up disgracing this warlord, Gabriel, by taking away his sword. So Prue ends up doing a spell, and this spell, which is meant to multiply her strength, actually ends up multiplying her. It conjures two more Prues, and so now we have three Prues in the episode. The other two are referred to as clones by Phoebe. We have a lot of funny moments with these clones. The episode and the storyline of the episode is interesting, and I liked that anyway. But what I love most about this episode is the comedy that comes about thanks to these clones. To distinguish between the clones, the real Prue is given a black sweater to wear, one of the clones is given a pink sweater to wear, and the other one is given a blue sweater to wear. And so they are referred to as pink sweater and blue sweater. Unfortunately, there comes a time when pink sweater is actually killed, and Prue feels it happen. And then there's a time when blue sweater is killed as well. So it's really, really terrible. Unfortunately, when Pink Sweater is killed, Andy is actually called to the scene, and he sees Prue's clone dead, thinking that Prue is dead. And what this has made me realize is the amount of pain that Andy goes through in this series. Anytime he sees Prue, or even hears Prue's name being brought up by a witness, I feel incredibly bad for Andy. But as we know, if you've watched the episode, Prue was not killed in this episode, her clones were. The Book of Shadows ends up saying that Gabriel is basically only vulnerable without his sword, but the sisters end up changing what they've read and end up using his sword against him. So the Book of Shadows basically recommends that they move his sword away from him, because that's how their great-great-great aunt was able to disgrace him. But in the end, Prue actually uses the sword against him and telekinetically stabs him with his sword, and that's what defeats him. It was a good episode all in all. What did you guys think of this one? Comment below and let me know. Angels says, I wonder where Skylar is. She's like a charmed power watching expert. Yeah, I don't know where Skylar is at this point. I'm a little surprised she's not here. She'll probably join us soon. It's getting on. It's about 11:52 p.m. here. She'll probably be here at around midnight. And Sarah says, oh, I love this one. The three Prues, the pink one, the blue one, and the real Prue in the black. Exactly. Yeah, so such a great episode. And say what you want about Shannon Doherty, but her acting in this episode was fantastic, because despite the fact that she had, so to say, two doppelgangers or two clones or whatever you want to call it, they all sort of had their own personality, and it worked really well. So they sort of made it out to be that the pink Prue was more like a corporate Prue, and the blue Prue was more like an uninhibited Prue, which was really interesting. We get a really comical scene with blue Prue in the kitchen of Quake, and she's flirting with the chefs, and it's really, really funny. So I love how they did this. Sarah says, I need 3 knees as well. Yes, how interesting would it be? Alias, I don't quite know what you're saying here. I was owing no tech support. You may want to write that again. Any other comments about which Prue is it anyway, before we move on to episode 17? But I definitely agree with what Sarah is saying there. It would be nice to have 3 of us. Would definitely be helpful and come in handy, that's for sure. Certainly it was imperative in this episode, because if Gabriel killed the real Prue, he would have stolen her power, because the sword has the ability to suck in the power of the person that is killed. But fortunately, he only managed to kill the clones, so that was good. All right. If you have any comments about season 1, episode 16, let me know. But otherwise, I will move on. Sarah's quickly correcting what Alice is saying. Opening up the conversation in relation to no tech support. Oh, okay. Are you saying Oh, sorry, Alice is explaining it. Whenever Angels said no tech support, I said, oh, and you were wondering why I said, oh, okay. Right, when you said, oh, you were referring to the fact that there was no tech support. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Sorry about that, Alias. There you go. All right. Thanks for your help, Sarah. I'm glad you got it. I just completely missed it. Whoosh. But you got it straight away, so well done. All right, let's move on to season 1, episode 17. Now, I watched 17 and 18 before tonight's chat. It was very interesting. I made a few notes here, so it might be a little longer than the others, my explanation, but here we go. This episode is called That 70s Episode, not to be confused with another episode that deals with, that deals with 60s. There you go. I was confused when I saw the title. I was like, I remember this one, but it wasn't the one I thought it was. So, but it was still a really interesting episode. And we find out something in this episode that I never actually worked out before, whether I just kept missing this part or whether it never just sunk in, but it did today. So we'll get into that now. So a warlock named Nicholas reveals that the girl's mother made a deal with him 24 years ago when their mother made a pact with him, sparing her life in return for the girl's powers. So instead of him killing her, she promised that he could have her girl's powers. She also apparently blessed a ring for him, granting him immunity from their powers, so making it very hard to defeat him, and therefore he would be able to kill them and take their powers if he wanted to. Not that their mum was planning on this, but this is what he is saying at the beginning of the episode. I'm immune to your powers, therefore I can actually kill you and take your powers from you. I just want to quickly say before I go any further, just to make things really easy to understand, Paddy, the name Paddy is going to come up. Paddy is the name of the mum, and then Penny. Penny is the name of Grant. So Paddy, the mum, Penny, Grant. Okay, so the girls end up going back in time accidentally after they do a spell. They find unbinding a pact spell or something in the Book of Shadows. And rather than actually unbinding the pact, it actually takes them back in time. The spell is done in the attic. Once the spell is complete, they still feel like they're in the attic, but it turns out they're in the attic back in the 70s. And we find this out when Prue goes downstairs to find out what's happening, and Graham's on a corded phone rather than a cordless, so there's one distinction between the 90s and the 70s, is on the phone, and it turns out she is talking to their mum, Paddy, who has had a premonition about 3 warlocks that are trying to take little Prue. There's another interesting point. Phoebe is not born as yet. However, little Piper and little Prue are running around, and it's the most adorable thing, going back to the past and seeing little Prue and little Piper running around playing games and stuff. We also get to see something interesting. They both have their powers. The little girls are making a point of this, with Prue unfairly using her powers to snatch away a doll, and Piper ends up using her powers to freeze, get this, little Andy, because little Andy is in the show, in the episode as well. It's just really well done, this whole episode. I really, really loved this. This is probably my favorite one so far in the series that we've covered. So we get to a really touching moment where the girls end up interacting with Paddy and Penny. Now, obviously, now that they're in the past, they want to try and ensure that Paddy does not make this pact with Nicholas. And so they try to track her down at work. She works at this diner place, but it doesn't really go over quite well. Piper and Prue are there to try and talk to her, and I guess they get a little nervous. Phoebe is outside waiting for Nicholas. Nicholas ends up arriving. Paddy ends up leaving, and it just doesn't go that well. But in the end, Piper, Phoebe, and Prue go back to the house and take little Piper and little Prue away. Because of this, they get arrested, and while they're in jail, Paddy actually pays for bail for them. She basically gets them out of jail and takes them back to the manor, and we have this really touching moment with Patty, Penny, and the three girls, the charmed ones, all just interacting about being the charmed ones, and it's really, really beautiful to watch. One of the things I love most about this particular moment is Grams and the look on her face when she goes, "Oh, I always knew someday that I would give birth to the charmed ones." Well, yeah, one generation removed, of course. Um, but she's just so happy. She feels so blessed that, you know, the charmed ones came from her line, which makes a lot of sense. The more we get to know about Grams, the more we know how much magic means to Grams. So that's a really beautiful moment. A very comedic moment when Grams tries to ask them questions to make sure they are actually, the girls are actually who they say they are. Grams actually slips in the question of, what is IBM selling at your time? Trying to make a little bit of money on the stock market there. Good old Grams. But yeah, I just love that whole scene of Patty, Penny, and the three girls. It's just done really, really, really well. So we also learned something, and this in this scene is where I found out something that I just hadn't been getting this whole time. They're talking about the pact that Patty has made with Nicholas, and what's interesting is that Penny makes the point that they won't, and Nicholas won't be able to get their powers if they don't have any. So she says that she will, that once Phoebe is born, because Phoebe's still not born at this time, she's going to bind their powers. And I finally connected after all the times of watching to realize that the whole reason that the girls' powers were binded in the first place was because of Nicholas. I never clicked with this. I knew their powers were binded. Now I know who made sure that their powers were binded. It was Nicholas. Because of the pact that Nicholas made with Patty, that's why Grams binded their powers. Very, very, very interesting. So, the way that Nicholas has immunity against their powers is through a ring, and by the end of the episode, Patty and Penny are able to unbless the ring, which was used to bind the pact. And with Little Piper and Little Prue's help, the girls are sent back to the future, back to the present, I should say. And then with a beautifully timed spell from Grams, they end up being able to vanquish Nicholas. It's a really, really, really beautiful episode, a really touching episode. So what did you guys think of it? Let me know. Okay, where are we? Sarah says, I love that 70s episode too. I've said before that I like the episodes when they go back into the past. Yeah, you have. There you go. Or into the future. And Sarah says, Warlocks, be gone! Yes! And sends them flying out the door. That's what Graham says. It's really funny because the girls are in the house and Grams is like, oh my gosh, these are warlocks. And one of them's like, no, Grams. And she's like, warlocks, be gone! And just a huge, like, ferocious of telekinetic energy sends them hurtling out the door. It's really hilarious. Fantastic episode. Any thoughts or comments or questions on that one before I move on to the last episode we're discussing this week? I have so much more appreciation for that episode than I ever have before. I do like sometimes when they go back into the past, but this was never a favorite of mine until today. So there you go. Sarah says, it just shows us how protective Grams is in relation to the girls. Very, very true. I like that they show that because obviously in an earlier episode, when the girls see their father, who ends up being a different actor the next time we see him, there's a discussion between him and Grams. Anytime we see the father, there are discussions between him and Grams about what happened when the girls were being raised. And this was a great moment and a great way to see just how protective she actually was of them. You're absolutely right, Sarah. Angel says, I still haven't managed to watch all the 6 episodes. Need to get some of Skylar's mad skills. Yes, completely agree with you there, Angels. Skylar is really adept at being able to watch Charmed. She does a really good job with that. It'd be great if we could all learn some of her skills. All right, let's quickly discuss season 1, episode 18, and then after that, maybe have a bit of a general Hangouts chat. What do you say? All right, so season 1, episode 18 is entitled When Bad Warlocks Turn Good. So this is not a favorite episode of mine. It's the storyline's okay, I guess, but I don't know. It's not my favorite episode. So basically, this young man named Brendan who is, as far as Destiny is concerned, destined to become a warlock with his brothers. You know, basically they're meant to become like the evil power of 3, but he doesn't want this to happen. So he's trying to do a lot of good to outweigh that, to make sure it doesn't happen. He's trying to become a priest in the process. Prue ends up finding out about all of this, and she helps him. And like, seriously, I didn't really write down much about this episode because I really didn't like it. In the end, Brendan ends up killing his brothers and becomes a priest, and he doesn't become evil. I'm not going to spend too much time on that episode because I really did not like it. But if you guys want to add anything about this episode, this warlock who was bad, who wanted to be good, wanted to become a priest, certainly comment below and let me know. But yeah, basically he ends up being good by the end of the episode. But for me, it was a snooze fest. I'm sorry, I didn't like it, and I'm not going to just, you know, come on here and say every single episode is really, really good. If I don't like something, I will be honest and let you know. And I really just didn't enjoy this one at all. But if you guys thought differently, let me know. Sarah says, Angels, hopefully can catch up sometime. Yeah, I hope so too, Angels. We'll have to see. Maybe if we can get some of those mad skills from Skylar. President A says, every time I hear father involving TV shows, I first think of Peter Hastings. Oh, goodness. We're definitely going to be doing a 2-month anniversary to the finale day of ELL on a day that we make sure that everyone is available. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot to say at that time. Sarah says, I usually skip this episode when I rewatch Charmed. Never found it that interesting. Oh, good. I'm glad to know I'm not alone in that one, Sarah. Because, yeah, it definitely is not an interesting episode at all. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's not an interesting episode at all. But yeah, I mean, some people think differently. I know some people that love the PLL finale, and I didn't. Differing opinions is what makes the world a better place. It ensures that the world is not monotonous after all, which is a very good thing. Angel says, Marlene will thumbs down us again. Oh, I'm sure she will. I'm sure the moment we go into the Hangouts that Marlene is going to give us a thumbs down. But that's okay, Marlene, because, you know, we thumbs you down too. Exactly. I'm sure that Marlene heard what you had to say last time, Angels. All right, guys. So that is the list. That's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I'm just going to re-look at the episode list. Sorry, guys, this is very unprofessional. But I don't think, I think there's actually less than 6 episodes left. So I just want to confirm where we're going to go from here. Yeah, okay, so there are 4 episodes left. So we've got 2 options. So there's 19, 20, 21, and 22. We can either next week do 19, 20, 21, 22, or we can do 19, 20, 21, 22, Season 2, Episode 1, and Season 2, Episode 2. What would you guys prefer to do? Do you want to just finish off Season 1, or do you want to finish off Season 1 and already start Season 2 next week? Let me know what your opinion is, and while you're letting me know what your opinion is, I will start getting things ready for the general Hangouts chat. So Alias is saying just finish Season 1. Yep, okay, I can definitely do that. And I think also with Angel's not completely up to date either, it might be easier to just have 4 for next time. So yeah, I think that we'll just do that then. So next week will be 19, 20, 21, and 22 to finish off season 1. Yeah, it's a really good idea. And Sarah's agreeing. Yay! All right, so if you are a VIP member and you are on the group page for comment below and let me know, I am about to put the link in for the general chat. So if you would like to join in, go over to your comment below and let me know group and prepare to see the link. I'm going to pop it in now. Okay. Yep, and if you refresh your page, you will see it now, and it should be there ready to go. So feel free to come along and have a general chat with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Ailey says, remember, you have to invite me. Oh, okay, excellent. How did I invite you last time, Alias? Do you want to just quickly remind me? And as for everyone else, you can go and get the link. Okay. Yep, I'll send it to your email. Excellent. If anyone else wants me to send the invite to their email, let me know. And Angel says, okay, would love to stay, but have to shoot off for that birthday thing. Have fun. I'll see you all later on. No problems at all, Angels. Thank you so much for joining us. Have fun at the birthday. Let us know how you get on. I'm going to have some vanilla Coke while I wait. Oh, there we go. I think Alias is with us. Hello, Alias.
Hey.
There we are. Excellent. Getting ready for school tomorrow?
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. Okay. Wonderful. So we're just waiting to see if anyone else would like to come and join us here in our Hangouts. If you're having any problems at all connecting, let me know in the, in the usual way. And we will get you connected to us. I'm a little surprised that that Skylar's not here yet, but she's probably busy at work at the moment.
Yeah.
It's all right. That's not a problem at all. Can they hear me?
No, I have my headphones in.
Ah, okay, no problems. Excellent. All right. I don't know what's happening if people are struggling or anything. I'm looking at the chat and I'm not seeing any more comments coming up either. So I don't know if there's been a glitch or something over there. Oh, it looks like we have someone else joining us. Is that President A?
Hi all.
Hi. Thank you for being here. So there we go. We have 2 people joining us. And if you would like to be a part of this crazy Hangouts chat, then come along. And as for you guys that are in the chat, if there's anything you guys would like to talk about, let me know, whether it be through here or even on the Hangouts chat. If you want to type in something to talk about, we can do that. That's totally fine. I'm just looking here to see if there is a technical issue with our YouTube chat, because I'm not seeing anything else come up since Angel's last comment, so I don't know if there's been an error on that one or not. If anyone is listening to us on the YouTube side, can you possibly leave me a quick comment just to show me if there is an error over there? Oh, excellent. Thank you, Alias. I guess there's no errors over there. Wonderful. All right. Sarah's saying, I think there just aren't as many people on tonight. Yeah, well, that's fine. That happens. It really, I think, comes down to the day or the chat, the amount of people that come. Not as many people do come for the Charm ones, although I did think that Skylar would be here because I know that she is heavily involved in Charmed. But as I said, she might have been caught up with work or something, which is totally fine. And Ben is here. Hi, Ben. Our tech support guy arrived. Ben says, hi, doesn't seem to be any problem, just not many viewers, so the chat's slow. Okay, no, that's totally fine, Ben. Thank you so much for being here. Yay, we have our technical support guy here. All right. So does anyone have any ideas for topics or anything that you'd like to talk about in this general chat section? If there's anything you would like to discuss, let me know. Or, I mean, I could drabble on, but I'd probably drabble on about things that no one cares about. Okay, and President A is asking how everyone's week has been. It's a good question. It's been an interesting week for me. Been a little bit up and down, but the last couple of days have been pretty good actually. So I'm very, very happy about that. How about you guys? And Alias is saying that he's had a good week. Yay! That's always good to hear. Wonderful. I think Sarah's trying to say she doesn't care if I ramble away. Oh, goodness me. I mean, seriously, I'd probably ramble on about things that people don't care about at all. And President A says he's been busy at work now, but now he has the week off to relax from preparing show bags. Oh, that sounds awesome, preparing show bags, but it's good that you have a week off as well. It's always nice to relax and take some time off and refresh. Was that a dog in the background?
Yep.
Oh, wow. What breed is it?
What breed is your dog? Breed?
Which one?
Max.
Mac?
Yeah.
Australian Shepherd looking thing. Oh, yeah.
Like an Australian Shepherd.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that's fantastic. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you ask them what it was. But that's cool. Excellent. All right. So interestingly, we have a number of good shows coming up next month. I guess I'll start talking about that. I was looking at my calendar yesterday. I keep talking about it on YouTube, and I'll certainly give it a shout out again. pogodesign.co.uk. They are absolutely fantastic. And has Sarah joined us? Sarah, are you here?
I'm here now.
I think you are. It's hard to hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can sort of hear you. It's really soft.
Oh no, I don't want to yell.
No, that's okay. I will turn my volume up a little bit.
Is it me? I don't know.
There we go. I can hear you now. It was probably me. I probably had the volume down too low.
Oh, Francois. Gosh.
Look at me, completely unprepared.
Right?
Sorry?
Oh, the video on YouTube and then on here it's different timing.
Yeah, true.
What's everybody up to?
Guys?
Guys? Guys? No one wants to talk to me. I'm not going to get on camera though.
No, totally fine.
Don't want to deal with that.
No, that's totally fine. We can do audio. So just to quickly finish that off, so next month, you guys, American Horror Story begins on, I believe, well, at least in Australia, it'll be available on the 6th. Well, at least it's telling me on the calendar the 6th. So I'll be covering that when it comes back, which is really exciting. How to Get Away with Murder comes back at the end of September, so we'll definitely be getting onto that. And I'm also going to be covering Will and Grace, only because that's a personal thing. I'm just really excited that it's coming back. I used to be a huge fan of the show, and I'm just so thrilled that it's going to make a comeback. So just wanted to let you guys know to look out for those. They'll be coming up next month.
Have you watched any of American Horror Story yet?
No, I haven't.
No.
I've been watching Orphan Black.
Oh, really? What do you think about Orphan Black? Without giving too much away, I guess.
From what I've seen so far, I don't mind it. I think the main actress is a really good actress. I like the storyline.
Yeah.
So yeah, and something that I found out from Angels that's really interesting is the guy that plays the brother in the show has an English accent, but he's actually not English at all.
No, he's American.
Yeah. So
That tripped me out a bit. I think the girl that plays all the characters is Canadian.
so she's not English either.
No,
Oh my goodness.
you'll figure it out. Did everyone go?
Go.
Is anyone else here?
You mean left the chat?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh my god. There's no one here tonight.
It's just
It's sad. That's why I got on. I didn't really feel like talking much, but I was like, no one's chatting away tonight.
Yeah. No, I think it's like literally just has President A left? No, I think President A is still here, but Alias has gone. But it's gone from the Charm Chat to the Francois and Sarah show.
Well, that's okay. We're interesting people. Someone
That's true.
Alias? Wait, I'm confused. I'm trying to like read the conversation on my phone but talk on my laptop. Alright.
That's okay. So I think Alias is saying on. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, someone said they're going. Is that Alias?
Just a moment. I'll just have a look. Yeah, I think so.
And then President A sent a photo.
Yeah, President A has sent a photo. I don't know who that is in the photo, but
I don't know either.
But I think President A also said bye. So does that mean President A is gone, or?
I don't know. I'm confused.
Well,
Guys.
thank you for coming and joining the chat.
That's alright.
Otherwise being left a little stranded.
Yeah, you'd be talking by yourself.
would be.
Oh, President A said bye to Alias, not
Oh.
going.
One. President A is still here.
President A, chat away. That mine.
Yeah, so President A will either chat or leave something in the Hangouts thing area.
That's understandable. Not everyone is as chatty and feeling like talking on camera or anything.
That's true. It's funny because when we did our last live chat, I remember Dario saying that he was working on his music stuff, so I didn't know if he'll be back for this one. But I thought Skylar would be here.
So did I. I mean, like, I know that she works a lot, so maybe she's busy.
That's true. That's true. She's probably busy at work.
No, what happens if nobody comes on? What are you gonna do?
Well, if no one comes on, it just becomes a chat between you and me, and then if you end up getting bored, then it becomes a monologue, and I
What? A monologue? What are you going to talk about?
all the things that everyone finds boring.
You said that you had some stuff that you could totally chat about, but everyone would find it boring. What are these things? I'd like to know. This is like an interview right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
I don't have any questions, but what are these things that you would find interesting?
Well, first of all, the first thing that I will find interesting that no one else would be tennis, and that's been proven.
Totally not interesting. Moving on. No, I'm joking. I never got into tennis. Sorry.
No,
Sorry
that's
about that.
that.
I'm sure I watched it as a kid, you know, like everyone did.
I'm the only person that I know that I talk to or I'm friends with or it's part of my family that's really into it. So
You're the only person you talk to. What? No, I got
I'm the only, I'm the only of everyone that I know,
No,
I'm the
yeah.
only one that likes tennis that doesn't work for tennis.
When did when did you get into tennis? Because you do it as a job.
I do now. Do you mean when did I get into it on the?
Did you play it like as a kid or anything?
I played amateur tennis when I was younger, so not professional. I played at a few like amateur events.
I played t-ball as a kid.
Oh yeah?
And what about everyone else? If anyone else joins in, tell us if you played sport as a child.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Comment below and let us know. Seriously, we can ramble.
So what was that?
We can ramble if we want to ramble.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Any other questions?
What is this noise I'm hearing?
Oh, that was me turning up the volume.
Oh my goodness. Scared me. Oh,
Sorry.
oh, we have another message from President A today.
Excellent. What does he say?
Roughly when will the PLL chat be? Also, the photo is of me and Carlito, a wrestler from the States. I had one tennis game against Leighton Hewitt as a kid.
Wow. Okay, so got a few things to respond to there. So roughly when will the PLL chat be? The PLL chat will be as close to the anniversary date of the finale as it possibly can be, although Alias has requested that I think we do it the day before that because the day before that is a Sunday. So I think it's like the 28th or 27th or something like that.
Of this month.
Yeah, of this month, yeah.
This month. It's been that long already. Oh my goodness.
I almost turned around and said, what is this month again?
August. Wait, it is August, right? Yes, we're good.
Excellent, thank you. And the photo is of Carlito. Oh,
I'm not
fantastic.
sure who Carlito is, but I do know who Leighton Hewitt is.
Yeah. So,
Is Leighton Hewitt still married to Beck?
Beck Cartwright, as far as I...
Yeah.
Yes.
People used to always say, was I related to her? And because we had the same last name, and I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, oh, and be very disappointed.
Oh, no. Oh, that's unfortunate.
How sad.
Yeah.
Carlito.
I think, as far as I know, they're still together. I know they had kids and all that, but this is going to be a little maybe controversial of me to say, but
Oh, coming out, guys.
I was not that I am in any way, shape, or form related to either of them, but I was against this relationship from the start. It ruined part of Home and Away, which is a TV show in Australia, in case you don't know. To everyone else out there that doesn't know. So Beck Cartwright, the woman that married Leighton Hewitt, played a character on our show here in Australia, Home and Away, called Hayley.
That's
and
right.
so when she married Leighton Hewitt, she ended up following him everywhere he went, like Mary's little lamb. And she left Home and Away to be replaced by some redhead that looked nothing like her.
Yeah, she did, and they did that a lot as well. Replace characters with ones that don't even look like them.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
Now we know how passionate Francois gets about characters leaving TV shows or their partners.
So true. I'm not. I gotta be honest. I was never really a Hewitt fan, but then again, like I feel like I don't know if everyone knows who Pat Rafter is, but since Pat Rafter, we haven't really had a good male influence for Australian tennis players.
Ooh. And President A has said, yes, he is still married to Beck Cartwright. Leighton was a spoiled brat as a teenager. Wow. Well, I didn't know that, but there's some information right there.
And I would have to agree with you, President A. He certainly came across that way. As very much a spoiled brat. And it really hasn't improved when I think about the players of today, like Nick Kyrgios and Bernard Tomic and stuff like that. So I'm happy that at least Pat Rafter used to play. He was a great guy. He did a lot for charity and stuff like that as well. But, I mean, yeah.
So I'm assuming President A is a tennis fan as well.
Good question.
Are you a tennis fan? Oh, typing.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Sort of. Well, that's good. Maybe we should start a topic that's not tennis.
I know nothing about tennis, so I can't give much here. But that's all right.
That's all right. What other topics can we discuss here on late night YouTube radio, at least late night in Australia anyway?
Yeah, 12:36 a.m. and all the truth is coming out now. It's like a radio show almost.
It is.
Like radio show. I would be great at having a radio show, I reckon.
Sorry?
I would be great at a radio show.
I think you would too.
Yeah. Got personality. No,
Yeah.
okay. What other topics can we talk about? I can't even think of one, to be honest. It's a bit sad.
It's funny how the mind goes blank once the chat starts. Because
you're like, maybe these people don't know the things that you would bring up. I don't even know.
Yeah, true. Oh.
Come on. Okay, President A, just to get you involved, is there any topics that you can bring up for us to chat about? Anything random at all?
Yeah, anything random at all.
It could be very random, and we will try our best to chat about it. I'm sure we could.
Oh, I'm sure we could too. Very good. Oh, sorry, just quickly, while we are waiting, we have got a response from our tech Ben on YouTube. He says, I'm not a bad 100-meter runner, but nothing professional. I tend to be bad at sports that require hand-eye coordination.
Definitely.
Running's very impressive, Ben. Good on you. I don't think I could do 100-meter running.
Do you guys have athletics carnivals at school?
Did we?
Oh, anyone.
Oh,
Whoever wants to reply.
Yeah, we had like little athletic things. I wasn't so much a fan of it. What about yourself?
I am not a sporty person. I did gymnastics as a kid. That's kind of fun because there were trampolines there, so we got to jump on the trampolines. Other than that, I definitely am not a sport person. Okay, President A said, least favorite TV show of all time. Least favorite.
Interesting topic.
Oh dear. I don't even know.
I can tell you my least favorite movie, but I'm trying to think of my least favorite show.
Well, when I don't like a TV show, I just don't focus on it and move on to something I do like.
Generally speaking, that's a good idea.
I've got a little black book that I write down all the shows that I don't like, just to tell people.
Oh, yes?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. But it's a good idea, though.
Just for this purpose.
You heard it here first to comment below and let me know, everyone. If you find a show you don't like, write it down in the book. A little book.
Right. Then we can chat about it.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. It's not a least favorite show, but I don't know if I'm the only one that watched it as a kid, but a show called Passions. I think we talked about it before.
Passions, yeah.
Passions. That was a pretty dodgy show. It's not a least favorite show, but it was very, very silly.
I agree. It was very.
But I raced home after school just to watch it, though.
Oh, really? Go
Yeah,
you.
I loved that show. Kind of.
Oh, very cool. I didn't mind it. Like I didn't see every episode, but if I was home and it was on, I would watch it. Because I loved the magical side they tried to do with the witch lady. I forgot her name.
Tabitha.
That's the one, and her little friend Timmy.
Timmy. Tabitha and Timmy.
Yes.
What's your least favorite TV show, President A?
Yes. What's your least favorite?
And Ben, if you're listening. And anyone else.
Anyone else that might just
That may like to join in.
Marlene, what's your least favorite show?
Molly, I don't think it's going to be the show that you created. But everyone else has an issue with it, but you seem to be happy about it.
Exactly.
My least favourite show, which is President A, is Game of Thrones. There you go.
Very good.
I've never watched Game of Thrones, to be honest.
I've seen a trailer for it and it was enough for me. People have asked me if I don't like it because of the nudity or whatever, but it's not that. It's the period of time that it's set in. I'm not a fan of like historical sort of horse riding war sort of shows. And that's what
Riding war shows.
they're all riding horses.
I just can't get into it. They're all riding horses. That just got me off it. I've never watched it, and everyone is like talking about it all the time. Game of Thrones, and I'm the awkward one that has to be like, I've never watched it. Sorry, guys.
And I'm the one that has to say on comment below and let me know, I'm so sorry, but this will not be covered on this channel.
Because it's got horses in it.
Yes.
Apparently, Francois has something against horse riding. And President A said, I can tell you Marlene's least favourite show is Riverdale.
That's funny.
That's what everyone's kind of jumped over to now that Pretty Little Liars has ended.
Yeah.
Gotten into Riverdale, which I haven't watched either. God, I need to catch up with all the current shows. I'm watching all the old shows.
I love old shows too, though.
Yeah, I just like to rewatch old shows.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, so... Sorry, go ahead.
You said you had a least favourite movie that you could share?
I wonder how much flack I'm going to get for this, but I'm sorry. In the name of complete disclosure, anything Monty Python.
Oh, yeah, no. My dad loved Monty Python as a kid, and it was just, no. Cannot do it.
Yes.
0 out of 10 would not recommend.
Love to all of you that love the film series and all that, but to me it's just really silly comedy that I can't get into.
Do young people even know what Monty Python is?
Probably not. They're like, what are these people talking about? All right, I'll say something more updated, and this will be way more controversial. I always used to say to family, friends, whatever, if they said, let's have a movie night, I'd be like, that's totally fun, let's have a movie night. But if it has the word star in it, I'm out.
Why?
Because I don't like Star Wars, I don't like Stargate.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I get you.
That's what I mean, yeah.
I didn't connect the two, and I was like, what do you mean?
Oh, sorry, yes.
I never really liked Star Wars either. No, I did watch them. I liked the prequel ones a little bit as a kid, but not really my thing.
Yeah. Oh, what was that?
President A said it's due to Riverdale winning all the awards, at least Teen Choice Awards. My least favorite movie is anything starring Jennifer Lopez. I don't know, Jennifer Lopez.
Interesting topic to bring up for discussion. So first of all, let's talk about very quickly about the Teen Choice Awards. I know that Janelle Parrish managed to snag an award, so well done.
Yay.
Yay. And I think I think there was one other. I don't know if it was a Lucy but there was one other award won by PLL. But the rest were run by Riverdale. That's absolutely right.
There you go.
So there you go. As far as J-Lo movies are concerned, there are some that I like. There are some that I don't like. I loved Shall We Dance, but I love any films that have dance in them anyway.
Yeah.
So that was more for me. What about yourself? What do you think of Jennifer Lopez films?
Me?
Yes.
Jennifer Lopez. She's alright. She did a lot of movies in the 90s and stuff, 2000s, didn't she?
Yes, very true. Like
I do like 90s romantic comedies or 90s comedies in general. Because they have something to them that movies don't seem to have these days.
Yeah, agreed.
Jennifer Lopez, she's alright. I don't have anything against her. I don't like her that much either, so I'm in the middle. Right.
Fair enough. I'm hearing a little bit of static come through. I'm just wondering where that's coming from. Can you guys hear it?
I can hear a little bit as well, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Oh well. We go. Yeah, so yeah, I would agree, like 90s films definitely, I feel like they were if I say better, but they were.
They were better. They were so good.
Yeah.
Like, who were the 90s main and 2000s main actresses of the time? Like, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
What's her name? I've gone blank. Oh, Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, Richard Gere, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks.
Definitely. Adam Sandler was making a lot at the time as well.
That's true.
He's still going now, but he's getting a bit old.
I was going to ask that actually. Skylar's here. Hi, Skylar.
Hi. I just woke up. And you see my socks.
No.
Oh.
I just woke up and I'm like, I went to the movie theater last night and we got home at like 1 or 2 something. And then I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, I missed the show chats already. And then I look and it's like, okay, I probably could squeeze in an hour.
Yes. Oh. Well, there we go. Yay. Welcome. And Skylar on YouTube says hi, everyone, and hi to Angels. But Angels isn't here right now. She's at a birthday party.
Yeah.
Birthday parties. I went to one like 2 weekends ago, and I got home at like 5 in the morning. It was good though. It was a sweet 16.
Oh, lovely.
I'm like walking around my house because I want cereal.
I see a fridge.
Yeah, you see my fuzzy
You're
socks.
in the kitchen.
Yeah. That's my kitchen.
Hi, kitchen.
Hello, kitchen.
That's my living room. Crazy hair. I have crazy hair right now because I just woke up. And I didn't remove my eyeliner, so I probably have like raccoon eyes right now.
That's alright.
Alright, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Have we though?
Well, I can say I have.
Well, apparently
Look at my eyes. They're like, my eyeliner is all faded. But
it's not that bad. I've seen worse.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I mean, I've woken up and it's been like worse where I'm like, you know, when you get like your eye boogers and they're black and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? So what have you guys been up to? What have you guys been discussing? Because I just woke up. Yeah.
What were we
Sarah,
talking
take it away.
I don't even know. 90s. We were talking about 90s movies, I guess. Just random.
Oh, 90s movie? I love anything with Richard Gere in it from the 90s because he's such like a handsome, like old looking man, but he's so like a handsome old looking man.
He's very
like,
regal. Like he's just very proper looking.
Yeah, right? Like I would marry a Richard Gere.
A Richard Gere.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't find him
He's like, he's in the
attractive.
movie. Yeah. I don't know. I found him like weirdly attractive. Like everyone's on like George Clooney, and I'm like, but what about Richard Gere? Like he's in all those like '90s romantic movies too, like with
Who would
Julia
you say,
Roberts.
Francois? Would you say Richard Gere or George Clooney? Or someone else entirely?
Wow, around the same age group?
Yeah, I guess. Unless you
Um,
have someone else in mind that's not at all around that age group.
oh, well, no, look, I will say that I always wondered what people saw in both of them, but then again, a couple of months ago, and this is very late for me, I get that, but I've never seen it before, I finally watched American Gigolo, and I got it.
Goodness.
So, I finally got it after watching American Gigolo.
Like for me, the only movie I thought like George Clooney was like semi-sexy in was in the movie that he does with Jennifer Lopez, where she's like the cop and he's like the robber. Oh my god, I can't remember the name, and it's gonna bother me. It's he's basically he does a lot of heist, and she's supposed to be arresting him in the movie. It's based off a book too. Although, like, a lot of people were upset that I think J-Lo was cast for it because, like, in the book, the woman's, like, blonde, blue-eyed kind of thing. And J-Lo's, like, anything but blonde, blue-eyed. Although, I think she dyed her hair a little lighter, so. But, yeah.
Are you talking about Out of Sight?
Yes! There we go. I couldn't remember it. That's bothering me.
Here at comment below and let me know. We'd like to thank our official sponsor, Google, for helping us out.
Yes, I think Google's like a life.
I'm using my phone, so that's where I would Google it from. So,
what would we do without Google in our lives?
True.
Google's amazing like that. I always have it open at work for some reason. In case someone says something and I have no idea what it meant, I'm like, Google define this for me.
Here's a topic we can talk about. I don't know what exactly call it. I guess I would call it acronyms, but like there are things that people write in texts and in posts and stuff, like LOL for laugh out loud. I was looking up today SMH because I never knew what it stood for, and I finally looked it up, and it's like slap my head or something. Shake my head. There you go.
Shaking my head.
So
it's for here, like in New York, people use it for like two ways. You could be like shaking my head, like I can't believe that, or I can't, or like, oh, like that's what it kind of means. But then like you also have like there's a little bit more of like the provocative term, shaking my head. So yeah, there's like two meanings for the most part. Most people use it for like the whole like, oh, I can't believe this, or like this annoyed me kind of thing. But yeah. What about you guys?
So I was just wondering if there are any like others out there that people maybe like me who aren't, so hip, don't know.
I'm the same because I don't really use stuff like that as much. I'll use like lol, whatever. But other than that, I don't. Like I type in 2 sentences, so I don't use that stuff.
It depends. Like I used to use them. I don't use them as often now. I think maybe when I was younger, it was kind of like the thing. So I used LOL, LMAO, which is like laughing my ass off. Yep. Younger, you use POS, parent over shoulder.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's like if you're like you don't want you want to make sure your friend's not saying anything stupid. Like I had friends, like I was a little more proper, but I had friends who would say a lot of crazy things, and my parents would be like, "What?" I'd be like, "POS, parent over shoulder." Like, do not say something stupid.
TTYL, like talk to you later. That's
or like BRB.
And BRB. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Those are
I feel like there's more. Dang it, I'm trying to remember.
I feel like we need to Google this, maybe.
Yes.
Google.
What about in the comments? Is anyone commenting any in the chat? Any other ones? Because I feel like I know a lot more, and my brain's just like I can't remember.
Maybe we're just getting old, all of us. How old are you, Skylar?
I'm 21.
Oh, see, getting old. You're in your 20s now.
I know. I'm trying to remember if I know any other ones because this is bothering me. I feel like I know a whole bunch and I just like.
Like, as
Well,
we
then
get
there's the
older, we just-
IDK that I don't know,
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
know yet.
or IDC. I don't care.
Oh, I never used that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I start typing it into my phone, and then my phone just automatically. I've done the thing where it automatically extends it out to the words
I know.
Oh.
because sometimes I'm just too lazy.
I know that a lot of
So-
people. I know that a lot of people abbreviate whatever as well with the W/E kind of thing instead of
Oh.
typing the whole word. They do that. For
Oh, there's
whatever.
WTF? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's that one. Or like WTH? What the hell? But yeah.
Yep.
Trying to remember what other ones are there.
Oh.
My cat has joined us. Come here.
So here's a question, actually. Does anyone know what lit means aside from like the?
It's kind of like
No.
bomb, like awesome, like that's lit, like that.
Yeah, there's this.
You know.
Yeah, lit is like when you're having like so much fun, or like you're so drunk to the point you don't remember how much fun you're having. Like I was so lit last night. Like yeah.
It's kind of like two meanings to it. Like lit could be like that was like really awesome, I guess, or whatever, or like yeah, maybe another meaning.
Like basically
Oh.
that party was lit. It was on fire.
I don't know why
But,
I
yeah.
know this.
I love
There's,
that
like,
you do know.
I keep up
It's
with
good.
everything.
She keeps up.
I keep up, but I don't use that. Like I don't use bay and lit and whatever the other things are that. young
Oh,
people
you know
use.
which one term I hate? And it's
What's
been
that?
used a lot lately. It was
Yeah?
even used in a Foster's episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
it's what you call it? Woke?
Oh,
She's so woke. He's so woke. And I'm like, don't say that.
You know what?
Just say they're awake.
people saying a lot as well, or like shook, like oh I'm so shook.
Yeah,
saying
or
that a lot
woke,
too.
shook, and it's
Yeah.
it's mainly like again in like the social justice community. Like they'll talk about like a 5-year-old who knows Trump is awful, and they're like, that kid's so woke. I'm like, they just know that he's awful because you probably say it. Like the kid doesn't know anything about politics. Let's face it. Like no 5-year-old knows anything about politics. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I haven't heard of woke being used before. I've been saying like I woke up, so obviously I'm under a rock. What does that mean?
Woke here means like you're so like aware of what's
Like-
going on, or
like
you stay
clicked
above
on,
on like the
you with
topics.
it. Yeah, you clicked on.
Oh, there you go. All right, just
In.
quickly, guys, before we go on, we're getting a comment from Ben saying THICC.
THICC. I'm like spelling it out on my counter. I'm like, oh, thick.
That's
I mean, I guess for here, like as far as I know, thick is usually used if like you have like thick thighs and a thick
Yeah,
butt.
like a thick woman.
it. Okay.
like you're a very curvy woman. You're not like
President
you
A
know.
is saying in the chat, I must be old at 34, don't use half of these.
Yeah, I
Me
don't use
too,
most
President
of
A.
them either, but you kind of know them because I grew up like basically I grew up in two different parts of New York. I grew up in one where it was Brooklyn, and in that area it was very both of the areas were low income and like very racially diverse. You have a lot like Latinos, you had your African Americans, and very few whites kind of thing. And there's this thing called like ratchetness, where it kind of means ghetto-ness, like you know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them have like their own behavior, their own demeanor, and they're a little more ghettoer than the rest of society.
This
sometimes.
is a language class today, guys.
Yeah.
You'll learn all about the lingos.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, so I feel like every area has their own lingo.
we could start whipping out some Australian lingo, but you know.
Oh gosh, true.
I mean, like there's not the 70s lingo that our parents and all that used back in the day.
Oh, do you guys call soda there soda or pop? Some people make this big thing about soda and pop, and I'm like,
we don't call
Neither.
it either. Yeah,
No.
we don't call them either. Not soda or pop.
what do you
Go
guys
on,
call
Sarah.
it?
Go on, Sarah.
Well, I don't know. Like we call it soft drink.
Yep, we call it soft drink.
Oh,
So, and I know that in some countries they call it fizzy drink or soft drink as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, over here everyone just kind of calls it soda.
It's interesting. When I first started my imaginary plans to go to America, I was very, very young. Anyway, I was imagining, like, things I would say to people if I wanted to get certain things. And I don't know why, but one day I was watching the film The American President, and I thought, okay, so when I go to America, I have to say, can I have a cup of coffee? But then I realized you don't have to say that. It's just Michael Douglas that says that.
Yeah,
But-
you'll definitely stand out saying it that way. Although, like, in Starbucks, it's like so funny. Like, a lot of Americans are very particular about their coffee. Like, even I noticed I used to do that when I was into coffee. Like, I'd be like, "Can I get a mocha frappuccino with 2 pumps of mocha and whip and no chocolate syrup?" And then they'll look at me and like they just knew what I was talking about. So it's like everyone's really particular. And then, like, some people are like, "Can I get an Americano? Half this, half that." Although I realized everyone in my job, like all the males, drink regular black roasted coffee, and I'm like, they got some strong souls. I can't do that.
Here's
I
a
need like milk and
question
sugar.
for Skylar. Do you have to tip in your country, like pay tips when you're somewhere?
Yes, we do. Now, the tips aren't always mandatory. Like, some places you can sit in a diner and you'll just get charged basically, whatever was your meal and drinks. And then you, out of courtesy, you just tip the person how much you want. Normally, it's more common to just do like a 20% tip of like whatever your bill was. But then some places, like bigger food chain restaurants, they have tip suggestions in the bottom, and you can circle which one you want, and it adds onto your card, or you can just pay that cash. So you can do card tip or cash tips. And then in other places, if you're like with a group of like 7 or 8 people, they automatically just include the tip in there.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So there's like different kind of tip rules, but for the most part, yeah, like tips, it's a thing you give courtesy. Unless your waiter was like completely
Terrible.
shitty, you're like,
Yeah.
screw that. Like, I remember one time, a friend of mine, we ate food, but like we realized neither of us had enough amount to like tip, and we're like, oh my god, this is so awful. We're like,
That's
let's just
what we would have a problem
casually
with.
walk away.
Yeah, because in Australia we don't have to tip because everyone gets like a minimum wage.
Yeah.
So then if we were to go to America, we'd be freaking out, thinking like, oh no, we have to remember to tip and we have to remember to keep extra money.
Yeah, it depends, like, too, because if you're like by yourself, you don't have to go crazy. Because if it's just you and you have like a regular decent meal, like $3 to like $4 or $5 is fine,
But
like, I normally, if it's like me and another person, I normally give like 6 or 7, but like, so I won't even count to the 20%. But if it's like me and like a group of 5 people, then I'm like, okay, what's 20% of our bill, like, because that just seems like an adequate amount of tip. Just always remember the 20 to 15%, and like I'll sit there and do it on my phone too, because like here in like New York, sometimes in some places they make a little bit of like a wage, and then like but mainly they're just living off whatever tips they get.
You see in the movies that some of the people get a little bit offended if they don't get a good amount with their like tip money, and
Yeah.
you
Well, it depends too, because if it's like I was serving a group of 10 people and you left me $5, I'm like, come on, I served like 10 of you. You know what I mean? $5 is like, at least give me a dollar for each of you, But
you go, Francois.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting because as Sarah says, we don't have that here in Australia. Like, I mean, there are certain places where if you want to, you can leave a tip, but because of the fact that we have minimum wage, or whatever it is, we don't.
Necessary.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Just quickly before we go on, I want to go back to this, but we're getting some comments on the YouTube chat. Psycho Ben is saying THOT, thought is another term. Anyone know what that might stand for?
Oh, I've heard it.
Oh, yes. I know. Okay, there we go. I'm remembering some of these now. Thought is very derogatory. Like, if you use it and you be like, oh, you're a thought, it's kind of like a slut, like a cunt, someone who sleeps around a lot. Yeah.
There you go. Alias has rejoined us on the written chat. He's saying hi. Hi,
Alias.
And Ben is saying, as a British man, I would just say tea or coffee. It's interesting because you know, we have the same sort of thing in Australia. Like, if you want to be specific with your coffees, like I will go in and say, can I have a double shot of caramel latte?
Caramel.
Because when I because I love my or caramel or however. How do you say it, Skylar?
I say caramel.
You say it.
Oh, there you
Care and
go.
then caramel.
Caramel.
Because if I don't specifically say, can I have a double shot caramel latte, I end up getting a caramel latte with a double shot of espresso, which is not what I want.
Yeah, no. Here in like America, like sometimes you could say I just want like a black coffee, and that's literally what you're getting. But like, if you want certain things, you have to like physically say it so it's done that way. And it's like either that or there's like a Starbucks app so you can order it before you get there, and then you just pick it up and like it's already paid for, and so you
Do
could
we
just
have a Starbucks app?
specifically want.
We have Starbucks, but do we have the app?
We have Starbucks, but I don't know if we have that.
I mean, I think the app is like universal kind of thing. You could probably
seems so.
download it, and then it'll go based on like whichever one is located near you. I think that's how it works.
Oh, sorry guys, I'm just getting another message on YouTube that just distracted me. I actually misquoted what Psycho Ben was saying. Instead of saying he said he'll have tea or coffee, he's saying that tea is over coffee. Yeah, so I do apologize for getting that wrong there, Ben. Just quickly before we go on, Sarah, are there any other comments on the Hangouts?
I don't.
Oh, you can see those comments on the Hangouts?
I've got my phone. Yeah, and they're not coming up on my.
Oh, they're coming up here, but it's I see a lot of President A on here.
Yeah, it's mainly President.
Okay, Skylar, what's the last comment you have on that one?
He goes, in Australia, a tip for great service and bad review for crap service.
Oh, there you go.
And he says, I must be old at 34. I don't use half of these. Then something about Janelle and Lucy. Nothing against Jennifer Lopez. Just didn't like her movies. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah. So we can tip in Australia, but we don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, which is... It's interesting, isn't it? Just there's
definitely a big culture difference between Australia and America. And I think that some people would do okay, like coming from Australia and going to America. And I think a lot of other people would definitely feel the culture difference. And
yeah, it's even like one of my friends from Germany. She came with her friend. They both were from Germany. They both came down to New York to celebrate her 23rd birthday. So I hung out with her like twice that week that she was there. And in one of them, we're sitting. I took them to like this place called Bodega Negra. It's a Mexican taco place, and it's in the city. It's pretty popular because there's a bar area, and then you gotta wait a while for seating area if you didn't make a reservation. So we get seated, and she's like, "This is so different because in Germany they don't really play music while you're eating. It's a little more quieter, but like in New York, you get loud music while you're eating."
Just even little things are like definitely different for people. Those little things.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a little iffy because sometimes you'll have like your waiter, but then someone else will bring you out like your food or your drink, and you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, for the most part, the dynamic of it, like if you're going late at night, you're gonna get louder music than in the daytime. And like you'll get a whole bunch of music from like the radio, but like you won't hear the radio station, but you'll get like all the current music that's like, in New York kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, Francois has definitely done a lot of videos about the differences between America and Australia and stuff.
Yes, that's true.
There is. There's even
I like those videos.
Sorry?
I like those videos though. They're very interesting.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I find it interesting that there are such differences. I mean, though we are separate country, we're both like Western countries, we both speak English, all that sort of thing, and yet there are those differences there. And I mean, even something as simple as, is it in America you drive on the left-hand side of the road, or is that us? I don't drive people, so.
Us, we're on the left hand. No, I don't drive either, but I know the steering wheel's on the left. And when you're driving, If I'm going this way,
Yeah.
I'm going to be on the
We're-
right hand,
we're
and
on
someone
the
going the
left.
opposite way is going to be on the
Our
left.
steering wheel is on the right side, but we drive on the left-hand side of the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're
So-
probably opposite because I know our steering wheel's on the left-hand side.
I don't drive either, but I think that's right.
I don't drive either because
Sorry if
here in
that's
New York,
wrong,
we
guys.
have a big transportation system, like public transportation system.
Oh,
It's
I mean,
huge, and so
well,
you don't even need to
Francois-
drive to get around.
Francois in Melbourne
Cool.
and I'm in Sydney,
Yeah.
which are pretty big
Mhm.
as well. So we probably both have lots
Yeah.
of public transport as well.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're very lucky.
I mean, ours is
Although-
very intricate, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Although I will say
above or
something.
underground train.
Something very, very interesting about even the difference between Sydney and Melbourne, which Sarah might find interesting. Sarah, have you been to Melbourne before?
Yeah, when I was a kid though.
Okay, so as I said, I don't drive. I went up to Sydney with a friend of mine, and so we caught the aeroplane, we caught the plane, we took the flight over, and when we
Yeah,
we,
he said
we
aeroplane.
caught the aeroplane.
I'm like, they must have really big hands to catch that airplane. I'm joking.
No, it's all good. Anyway, when we got to the airport, something really interesting. If you go down the escalator or whatever everyone calls it, there's actually a station there called Airport Station in Sydney.
Yeah.
We don't have a station here at the airport,
Oh,
but
really?
they do have one in Sydney. Yeah, we don't.
No, yeah, because I caught the train from where I live to the airport, directly to the airport. So the airport line goes directly
Amazing.
there. Yeah, and it's so much easier.
Yeah, so if you come to Melbourne and you don't have a car, you have to like get a taxi or an Uber or something. Where if you go to Sydney, you can just take your luggage down to the train station and get the train.
We're prepared, okay?
Oh, so you guys have Ubers?
Yes.
Yes.
Ubers, yeah.
Okay, here in New York, we have different versions. We have Uber, Lyft, Juno, Get, Via,
Wow.
and I think I'm missing more,
That's
but
a
like
lot
that's
more than I
all of
know.
them.
No, we have Uber and we have
Yeah.
taxis, and that's it.
Oh, and we have taxis, but yeah.
Do we have any more?
So like, I think there's more than what I forgot to mention, but like for the most part, those are like the more common ones.
Still, there you go. Yeah, because I think, like you said, Sarah, we basically have Uber and taxis.
And
Yeah,
we didn't get Uber that long ago. It was only a few years ago, I'm sure.
that's true. It's very new. Speaking of Uber, though, when I called an Uber a couple months ago, I was talking to the driver, and he was saying, "Do you know? I think it's Germany or somewhere, but don't quote me. That you can get an Uber helicopter."
What?
I know, right? I know, right? For the very, very rich, you can take an Uber helicopter wherever you want to go. Like, oh, okay.
That's crazy.
I've never heard of that.
Like I know here we have like the Uber, but then you also have like Uber Eats. So for saying
Yeah.
you want
we've
food
got
delivered
that.
to you, so like that's very common. But I never heard of an Uber helicopter. Like,
Who's riding around in helicopters and where are they going? Why?
I just know we have like the extra mobile apps other than Uber because of like competition, so it makes the prices a little lower because everyone's competing. For
That
the
makes
rides.
sense.
But also,
Yeah.
I like Lyft personally because Lyft, you can do like a shared ride. So in the shared ride, the driver could pick up like 2 other people besides you, and then you all can split the fare. So it's like it's a little cheaper
wow.
that way. And then you meet random strangers in the cab ride. But yeah,
Really? I don't know if I'd do that.
yeah. And then there's like Via where it takes you everywhere around Manhattan for like $5, but it only goes in Manhattan. It doesn't go to the outer boroughs. And then there's Juno, which is like fairly new, but it a lot of people are converting to it because the drivers make more commission off of it than Uber.
We've got a comment from President A saying, in Adelaide, our taxis and Uber drivers are feuding over transport from the airport.
Oh.
Oh, yes. That's a big thing. Like here in New York, you can take whichever you want to like the airport. But I went to New Orleans, and in New Orleans, only Uber can take you out of the airport or a taxi.
Wow.
But they also have Lyft, and Lyft can't take you from the like airport to your hotel, but it can drop you off. But like, yeah, and then they have like regulated fares or whatever.
Yeah, we sort of have a competition over it here as well. I've been talking to people that like drive the Ubers, and they were saying that to me as well. But it's interesting. They sort of say, we shouldn't really go to the airport, but if you book us and then call us, we're happy to meet you around the corner." You know, so interesting. Just quickly, Angels quickly came back on just to hear us all. She's having an
Hi,
interesting.
Angels.
She's having an interesting time at the party, but she's on babysitting duty, so she thought she'd drop by and see what's going on.
Interesting, riveting
That's
conversations
good.
about taxis and Ubers at this point in time. Riveting.
That and tips, and what else do we discuss? Oh, and Richard Gere.
Yes.
He makes really good 90s romantic movies. He has like The Runaway Bride, His Pretty Woman, like, you know.
90s rom-coms are the best.
Yes.
I was watching like Bridget Jones' Diary the other day, and I was like cracking up because like the opening scene in that song is her singing all by myself.
There's another person that was that is American doing a British accent.
Who's this?
Renee Zellweger, the one in Bridget Jones' Diary. Have you watched that?
Yeah, she's. Oh my god, yeah, she's good too. Like, she looks different now that she's like aged and she's had a little bit like I think facial surgery.
Yeah.
But like, if you watch her in Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey, you are going to piss your pants because it's an old funny movie and like it's one of like Jim Carrey's few good ones. And then Renee, this is like prior to her like surgery. She has like young face, and it's a really good funny movie if like you have time. I would definitely recommend Me, Myself, and Irene because the basic general concept is Jim Carrey is a police officer with like he has like a bipolar situation or like a split personality situation, and he's helping Renee, but she doesn't kind of know which person she's gonna get that day.
Definitely.
He has an evil Alex Drake side.
Speaking of Alex Drake, actually, I was just thinking, how great would this have been if we had something like this during Pretty Little Liars?
I know, yeah.
Oh, it would have been great.
Angels is saying that she's just doing one of her mates a favor and getting the food sorted, but she might be heading home shortly.
Ooh, hopefully you can join in, Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yes, I would agree with 90s movies and rom-coms as well. I knew that if a film starred Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, or if it starred like Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, or one of those couples that kept being in the same films over and over, that it would be at least an okay film, if not a pretty decent film.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's not forget John Cusack. He was in a lot of them too.
That's true. Yeah. Of course,
I personally love Serendipity with John Cusack, and in New York, it was actually filmed in the restaurant called Serendipity that you can actually get like your shakes and food in, and it's a really nice place. I've been there.
Oh, I love that film. It's a beautiful film.
Yeah, so where they go to have like after they fight over the gloves kind of thing.
Yeah,
so they have like a shake or something or food together at like this little restaurant called Serendipity. And it actually really exists in New York, and they have like the film's poster in the restaurant because that's where it was shot, and they have like a few like hippie, trendy little artifacts in there. It's a pretty cool place. Even the toilet's weird, but yeah.
Keep chatting, guys. I'll be back in 1 minute.
No problems.
Oh.
And Robin Williams as well.
Yeah, I had myself muted and I was like talking. I was like, yeah.
Oh, sorry. You're good. I thought I'm on my own. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I don't know when Mrs. Doubtfire came out, but I'm sure it was in the 90s.
Yeah, I always remember that one and him saying like, "Good morning." No, I can't do it because like I need to breathe when I'm saying that. It's just like, he made a lot of good movies. One of my personal favorites, though, with him is always going to be, like, Jumanji.
Oh,
it's like a classic.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, goodness.
You might hear my toaster go off because I'm making my sister toast, but...
That's totally fine. You're making me hungry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have cereal myself. But we all woke up in my house and realized our parents ditched us and went to the beach. And I was like, oh
Oh.
well, I get to join on the Hangouts chat. Whatever,
Yay.
fine. So I'm doing like when I mute myself, I'm doing like my morning routine. I'm like, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm removing this makeup from my face, and all that fun stuff.
Or while joining the chat, because it's a fun way
Yeah.
to do it.
So like everyone
It's
wonders how I multitask and watch like a billion shows. I'm like, this is what I do.
This is how we do it. It's funny,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about your situation with Charmed, because obviously this is a Charmed chat, or was a Charmed chat.
Yeah,
And
I'm on season 5, like the middle of it.
it's excellent, yeah, because that's what I was going to ask, whereabouts you're up to. So you're on season 5 at the moment.
Yes, I'm on season 5. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
there's another character by the name Chris
Yeah.
in it,
Yes, yeah.
I'm back.
and you get his origin story. That's where I just
Oh,
finished
wonderful.
watching the story about his origin. That's basically it.
Ah, fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just to jump in
So-
quickly, President A has another question.
Mhm.
Yes,
yeah?
go ahead.
Is what's everyone's opinion of Reese Witherspoon? I love her in Legally Blonde and Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, Legal Blonde was like my motivating movie when I was like studying for the LSAT. There's like this part in it she's studying for the LSAT,
Yeah,
and I
I
started
remember
burning that song.
Yeah.
I like the first Legally Blonde a little more than the second, just
Yeah,
because
I don't like the second one as much.
I think sequels for certain comedy movies don't work out as well.
Yeah.
Legally Blonde, Francois?
I love Legally Blonde so much. And my fascination began, I'll never forget this, one of my years in high school, the educator came up with her lesson plan. She said, okay, everyone, this term we're going to be studying stereotypes, and here's why. When Legally Blonde comes out to the cinemas here, we're going to go watch it. So we went as a class and watched it at the
Oh, that's
cinemas.
great.
And I just
Yeah.
loved it. The second one I didn't mind so much, only because it has Sally Fields from Mrs. Doubtfire, but I do prefer the first one. I will just quickly say, though,
Mhm.
I agree with you that, generally speaking, sequels aren't as good. But for me, there is one exception, and that exception is a little film called The Princess Diaries. I think The
Princess
Princess
Diaries
I like
was
the Princess
great.
Diaries.
I love The Princess Diaries, but I feel like Princess Diaries 2 was better than 1.
I don't
But-
remember it that much. Do I? Yeah, no, I do.
The second one, she's already a princess and she's like flirting with this
And
guy
there's
who
that
at first he has like malintentions for her,
Yeah.
but he kind of likes
I
her,
remember now.
and she decides
Yeah.
not to get married to be a queen.
Yeah.
What I like also another movie that defines like that whole the sequels not being good is it's actually an animation movie, but Toy Story. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3
Yep.
are
Oh my
all
God, there's
equally
so
great,
many.
and they all
Mhm.
get to you in the same
about-
level of like emotional.
What about Shrek? Because Shrek has like how many movies now?
Oh,
Shrek
gosh, how
has
many-
3. I think I like the first one. The second one, this is how I usually
I
rank
don't even think
sequels, or
I've
like
seen the rest.
I think the first one was great. The second one was good. The third one was like it should have not been made. That's how I
yeah.
like normally rank stuff. But with Legally Blonde, I when I watched it again recently, I noticed a lot of actors that I watch on shows, like other shows, and I'm like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
the guy who I think his name is Warner, the guy that she was like
Yep.
dating, but then
He's
he was
in the Oh no, yeah.
he's in Vampire Diaries.
Vampire Diaries. He's Alaric.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, this is where he's from.
Yeah, I
And
noticed that too, and I didn't make the
I also-
connection before.
yeah, and I also love like Reese Witherspoon because she's also in like Cruel Intentions. And I love that movie. Like
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
why I love that movie, but I love that movie. Maybe because Michelle Sarah Gellar's in it.
Sorry, guys, just quickly, because I will comment on Cruel Intentions in a moment, but Psycho Ben is correcting us. Apparently, Shrek has 4 movies, not
I
3.
thought there was more than 3. I thought there was like 4 or 5.
Well, I know there's one with his baby, so that might be the 4th one. Because
Okay.
there's one. There's the first one where he meets Fiona, right?
Mhm.
And then there's another one. I don't know if that one's the one with Boots and Cats or if that's the 3rd one. I can never remember to differentiate the third and
Let's,
the second and 3rd one.
Let's
But then the
just-
4th one, I think, is the one with his twin babies.
Let's Google this. Google's handy for this. Oh no.
Well, while you're Googling that, I will comment on Cruel Intentions. I loved the first film. I thought it was really fantastic. And then something happened, and I cried, and then I stopped watching Cruel Intentions.
Oh really?
I think there's a few parts where you can cry in that movie because it's like it's one of those where he goes from like being an asshole to then being great to then like dying. But like
That was it.
That movie gets to me.
Once Sebastian was gone, I was like, no, it's not going to be the same again.
I know, and like there's always like those movies that like get to you. I'm trying to think what other speaking of like the stereotypes in your like you mentioned in your class, like I took a cinematography class and we went over like stereotypes in films, and that day we were going over like Asians, how they're always made to be like very skillful fighters, or like they're either that or they're really evil with the long like beard. Or even when they're going to take place, like in Asia, it's always seemed like they aren't as modern as like the rest of the world. They still like live in like villages and stuff. Like, so we were discussing that stereotype of like them in films. And like, it shows to be true even with like recent movies, like the Batman movie when he goes to like get his training. Like, they live in like on like a mountain. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm pretty sure like, Asia has like nice buildings, I'm like, why do we always make them out to be like,
That's okay.
not fully developed?
People still think that we're just surrounded by kangaroos and bushland, so
Yeah.
that's what Australia is to everyone. Still.
Yeah, well, I know definitely of like the kangaroos, like that's the first thing everyone asks about.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have like them in a zoo for the most part.
Wildlife park. Yeah, and when you ask people about Australia, that's usually what they say. You have kangaroos.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's because you don't see them elsewhere. Like I feel like I've been to zoos in like New York, and like I've never seen a kangaroo in my life. The only kangaroo I've ever seen in my life was in Winnie the Pooh, and like it was the mom and the baby kangaroo.
Yes, Kanga and whatever. Roo. Yeah, Roo and Kanga.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because together they're a kangaroo.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even realize that till just now.
We're learning things today.
I am. Guys, I'll be right back. Keep going. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's funny.
So it is really funny.
There's
I'm
probably
like,
not much else to Australia other than kangaroos, really. I mean, what else can I tell you? Nothing.
I feel like here we have like our zoos, but like you'll have like deers in like New York that just kind of randomly like roam around.
Yeah, that would be cool because we don't have like deers and stuff just randomly chilling around. Like you don't see those kind of animals and elk.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I live in Staten Island, and like we were like driving on like the highway along the highway, and like you just see one.
We have possums, but we don't have. I don't know. I don't think we have squirrels.
We have possums in upstate.
And what
Yeah.
else? I don't know.
I mean, we have squirrels, and they're tricky little bastards. I don't like squirrels very much. Because like you can be walking and they'll test you. They'll like walk your way, and I'm like, dude, you have the right of way. Like you can walk first, but like don't bite me. Don't come close to me.
Weird birds that people don't see in other countries. They have some weird birds. Other than that, I don't know. Most of our animals are just in zoos.
Most of ours are in zoos too.
Yeah.
Oh, we have turkeys, wild turkeys just walking around here on Staten Island.
I can't say I've ever seen a wild turkey chilling around.
Yeah, we have them. They're just like chilling in their gangs of groups. They'll cross the street. They'll stay on your lawn.
Threatening people with their gangster.
Yeah, so there's that and like, geese and like ducks. Those are like usually loose. Trying to think if there's anything else. There was this one time a guy, like he had like exotic animals in his house in New York and they had to like recollect them.
I remember going to a country town here in Australia and seeing people riding horses, and that was really weird because I live in the city and you don't see people riding horses around. And in the country town, like they had like a rodeo, they had cows and stuff, and it was really weird. And then people riding horses down the street.
And here in New York, if you go to like Manhattan, you can get like a carriage ride with a horse.
Yeah.
And you can also get like you also see like some policemen. They're on horses.
We do have some policemen with horses, probably in the city area, but yeah, you don't see them much. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Can't think of any more animals.
Neither can I. I remember there's like this area in America. I forgot where. We were like reading up in one of my classes. We were talking about it that like some people were sleeping with their animals there, like their horses, and it was like really weird.
That is weird.
Like everyone knew that there was this guy who totally into sleeping with his barn animals, but like
like actually,
they didn't really like. Some people were disgusted by it, and some people like didn't care. Yeah, like I mean, like physically sleeping with them, they're like that's animal cruelty and abuse. And then some people were like, "That's none of my business. What happens on his farm?" And I'm like,
yeah, that's a bit.
I feel like in New York, that's everyone turns the cheek on certain things.
The weirdest thing I've seen is a guy walking around with his pet pigs, just walking them like a dog. But that's not that weird, I guess, but still pretty weird. So President A has said another thing. What about Bring It On with Kirsten or Kirsten? Kirsten Dunst? Have you seen the second and third Full Intentions as well?
Oh, with Kirsten Dunst. No, I actually have not seen the second part to it.
I've seen. Okay, what did you say? Bring It On. Yes, I've seen Bring It On. That's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I've seen Bring It On. I just didn't see the second version of Cruel Intentions.
No, I haven't seen.
I think I've seen all the Bring It Ons.
Yeah.
To be honest, they're like a guilty pleasure. Like when you're bored on a Saturday morning.
In It to Win It or something, and then just the normal Bring It On. And then there's another.
Faith from.
Yeah, Eliza.
Buffy. She's on one of them.
Ishku or whatever. Yeah, they're pretty good movies. I don't know when they were made.
Because when I was younger, I would try to do the dance routines and be like a complete badass.
That's another thing that's different between Australia and America. We don't really have cheerleading teams and stuff like that at our schools. That's not really a thing.
We have cheerleading teams. We have sports teams. Like the cheerleading teams, though, I feel like they're different everywhere because, like, here in New York, as far as I know, like you have them, but like in like other places, maybe like down south or towards like the middle of like the U.S., they do like the cheer competitions and they have regionals. I've never, like in terms of like the few cheerleading teams I knew of, like New York. Although I think they do exist like in New York, and you can travel to like do the competition or whatever, but. I know in some other states that like that, along with like certain sports, are really big in like their home state.
If anyone is Australian here, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we don't have cheerleading teams or anything. We do have sports, but it's not like it is in America where it's like a big thing.
Yeah, I'm back, guys, and I can definitely confirm that it's not as big as it is over in the States.
No, definitely
at
not.
all.
Like American high school compared to Australian high school, very, very different.
I just want to quickly say, guys, Chase came on, but unfortunately he's had to leave. I just thought I'd say what he wrote. Unfortunately, he said, just wanted to say hi. I'm heading back to bed. Did not sleep well because of leg pain. So,
Aww.
We're sorry to hear that.
Chase. Feel better.
And if you listen back to this, then we're all saying hi to you if you've already gone.
Yeah. And Angels has gone to get some gin and tonic.
Oh, good choice. Angels.
Sounds good.
Very good choice.
Yeah, yesterday I was like with my parents and I got a drink and they were like, Miss, I'm gonna have to ID you. And I'm like, okay. So I give him my ID, and he's like, you look like you're still in like your teen years. I'm like, that's a wonderful thing because that means when I'm older, I'm gonna still look young. So that's how I look at it.
It's kind of a compliment, and like I'm almost 28 in like maybe a month or two, and I still get mistaken for 17. So it's kind of a compliment. I'll be 35.
Yeah, I know some people get really annoyed by it, and I'm like, don't be annoyed. It just means you have a young face.
No, when I'm like 35 or 40, I'm still going to be looking early 30s, and that's okay with me.
Right. Although I feel like some people like dislike it because they're like, I don't want to have a young face. I want to have like a mature, sexy face. And I feel like some
I've thought
celebrities,
about that before. But
there's some celebrities who have like that problem. Like Selena Gomez speak on an interview. She's like, I have a baby face. It's really hard
she
for me
definitely
to
does.
do anything else in
Do we know
terms of the
how old she
acting
is?
world.
How old is she?
She's like in her 20s, like 23,
Yeah,
I
early
think, or
20s.
24. I don't think she's past 25 yet.
No, I don't think so.
She's like, she has a rough time because she gets typecast because she has a young face. And then if she
Well,
does
she
play an
could-
older role, she looks like a
Yeah.
young girl trying to be sexy and it's not sexy, like, you know?
But then, like in
But,
Pretty Little
yeah.
Liars, for example, Maya was played by like, how old was she in real life? She played a teenager, but in real life, she's in her 30s.
Yeah, I remember her in Save the Last Dance. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
remember
me
that
too.
movie.
Yeah, I do. She played
And like,
Nikki or whatever.
she
Nina.
was in Buffy as one of the Slayers, like the one right
Yeah.
after Buffy.
Kendra,
She
the
was in a lot of
Vampire
things.
Slayer.
President A said, I'm still asked for ID all the time at 34. So when I'm asked for ID, someone younger, I ask them for ID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
I
For
actually
me, I
didn't
don't mind it.
I was just gonna say I actually didn't make the connection with Maya, but I loved her in Buffy. What's her Bianca Lawson or
Lawson.
something? Yeah. Yeah, I loved her in Buffy. I'm Kendra, the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's Kendra, yeah. So
Yeah.
she's a lot older than she appears as well, which is
Yeah.
a bad thing, I guess.
Some people just age really well too. Like Hailey Berry, like you could tell she's a little older now, but like she still doesn't look like relatively her age.
Some
You
of
know,
these
for the
women-
most part.
Some of these women that are doing movies, like Jennifer Aniston, she looks amazing, and she's like 50 years
I think Jennifer Aniston got like better as she aged. Like I feel like when she was younger, she was still like pretty, but then she got older, and I'm like, ooh,
She looks
Jennifer.
fantastic. Like she's a hot
You know?
lady.
Yes.
And like I think she's so funny. I love her in The Breakup, you know, with
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn in that movie because it's so funny. There's like so many truths to it. Like, you know, she wants him to wash the dish and he gets to get up to go do it. And she's like, well, don't do it now. He goes, you wanted me to wash the dish. And she's like, I don't want to tell you to wash the dish. I want you to go and do it because you want to do it. And he's like, well, I don't want to do it. Or like when they're like, you know, if you're in a relationship, you probably shouldn't play pictogram because then you're like purposely not gonna get anything that they're drawing right, or you're gonna be like more nitpicky than what you would be because like she's drawing the sock and he goes, that does not look like a sock, and you call yourself an artist, and she's like, well, can you draw a better sock? So there's so many funny parts in The Breakup, and you know, it's one of those movies where like you want them to get back together but they don't, and it's like, you know, it's one of those like real truths that like sometimes you just don't get back with the person that you really care about, you know?
That's true.
That's it.
Well, Jennifer Aniston was one of those 90s actresses as well, 2000s.
Yeah.
Barrymore as well. Drew Barrymore's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. She was in a lot of
Love her.
romantic comedies. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, another Aniston movie that's good. I don't know if it's Aniston, but I could be wrong.
Mhm.
She's in a movie where she has like I think she's staying with like one of her closest friends, and he's like gay in the film, but she starts to like him as a partner, but
Yeah, I
he's
think
like,
I've seen
we're only
that.
pretending to be partners, but he goes, I'm really gay, and then she finally finds someone, I think, at the end of the movie.
Just cutting
Trying to
in
remember
quickly,
what now.
President A just said, I'm heading off. It's 1 a.m. here, need sleep.
Oh, where is President A, by the way? Like, where is he located?
Australia, Victoria?
Yeah, he's in Australia. I don't know where. Is it Adelaide? I don't know. I don't think he's in Victoria though.
Adelaide. Yeah, Adelaide. Said that before.
Yeah.
All right, well, we shall say bye to President A. Thank you for joining in.
By President
Yes.
A.
See you
Bye,
later.
President A. Thank you for being here.
Bye all.
Yeah, so you guys have different oh, bye. I just heard his voice. So
What
in
were you gonna
Australia, you guys have different like how do you
Kind of.
differentiate like the cities? It's like Victoria, Melbourne. How does
Different-
that go?
We have different states, and then within each state, there's different suburbs.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Because, like, here in like the U.S., you have different states, but then you have, like, different cities and towns in the states, too.
Yeah.
Like, in New
Yeah,
York
we do.
alone,
We have-
you have, like, 5 boroughs.
Yeah, well, okay, so like I live in New South Wales, and then within New South Wales, I live in the city of Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Then within the city of Sydney, I live in a particular suburb. So
Yeah.
it kind of works like that.
Yeah, it's the same here. So, like, my state is Victoria, and the city in Victoria is Melbourne, and I live in a suburb in Melbourne. Yeah.
Okay, like
Yeah.
here,
It's,
how
but
would I
just
say? I
quickly,
live in the U.S.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just
You
gonna
can go
say,
first.
just quickly, I love hearing, and I'm saying this with a lot of love to Scarlett. I love hearing Americans pronounce the city that's inside of my state, because Americans say Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
isn't it
love
Melbourne?
It's we
You
pronounce
said
it as
correctly.
yeah. You're pretty good at it. Yeah. We say Melbourne, but it's written as though it's pronounced Melbourne.
Yeah,
that's
I guess I'm picking it
Yeah.
up the right way because I've heard you say it.
That's true.
That helps.
So I got a cheat sheet.
Very nice.
Although we say a lot of weird things here, like I would say, it's library, but a lot of people tend to say library. Library, like like it's a lie and then a berry.
Like in Australia, we don't put emphasis on like our R sounds, whereas you guys in America do. So yeah, when you say
Like,
those, they do sound differently because you have more emphasis on the sound when you make when you say R. R.
Yeah.
R.
I'm a pirate. My favorite letter is the R, but it's the C. Something like that.
R.
I will say though something interesting about letters when it comes to America and Australia. Over here in Australia, we get a children's show called Sesame Street, which is American.
Yes.
Yeah, Sesame Street's awesome. We actually have a place that you can go to that's amusement park that's called Sesame Street.
So they go through the alphabet, which is fantastic, and the kids can learn the alphabet. And then you get to the end of the alphabet, and they say X, Y, Z.
Oh yeah.
We don't say Z in Australia. We say Z.
We say
so
Z.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We say Z. So kids go to school and they say it's X, Y, Z, and they might get in trouble for it because we say Z.
That is not correct in
Australia.
In Australia.
In Australia.
It's also like when you sing the song, there's like a cheat sheet over here in New York. There's NMOP. But when you're singing it, it's like NMNOP. You don't really enunciate
I think every
them.
kid does that.
Yeah, I still do that, and it sounds like I'm saying like M&Ms or something. But yeah.
That's funny. Oh, and I think speaking of things that are big in America, earlier we were talking about cheerleading. Halloween is pretty big in America. I don't know what it's like where you are, Sarah, but certainly where I live, I am yet to have a trick or treater come. I'm yet to have a trick or treater come to my door. So.
Oh, I have a Halloween story. It's the other way round.
Yeah.
So I was 16, or maybe a bit older. I might have been 18, not sure. I was an emo kid at the time, so I was wearing my band shirts and my eyeliner and all that, and my friends and I, and one of my brothers, decided to have some alcohol and go trick-or-treating. As weird emo kids, no one does trick-or-treating in Sydney. No one came to our door, it's not a thing. And we went around and we're like, trick-or-treat, and people were like, why are you doing this? But we did get we got some candy, some lollies and chocolates and stuff. We also got some random things, like we got an orange. We got someone got bike candy
Oh my
bars.
Gosh.
They were like, I don't
That's
have
so
anything,
funny.
but I have random bike candy bars. You can have this. Well, thank you.
Wow.
Here it's big.
It's not a thing here, so it was really funny for us to do it, but no one was doing it at all.
Oh.
Here it's like a whole celebration. Like a lot of people love I love Halloween because you get to dress up, and it's just another opportunity for me to dress up,
I'd
but
love to be in America. I think France, I would agree. We'd love
Yeah,
to
same.
be
I can't say how it is like in the other states, but like here in New York, you'll get like your Halloween party or Halloween dance. My little sister's school used to do Halloween parades where all the kids will be dressed up and they'll wear like a banner and they'll walk around and it's showing off their costumes. It's a little bit like in the more city areas, it's kind of hard to do the trick or treating thing. But I live in Staten Island, which is kind of like a bit more suburban than any of the city areas. There's a lot of little houses. So I take my sister's trick-or-treating, and we're able to get, like, 3 bags of candy full because, you know, some years, it kind of fluctuates. Some years, more people are handing out candies than other years. But, like, they also leave, like, notes where they'll say, like, I'm out of candy, like, you know, don't knock, or, like, be back at 3, you know. So, and, like, you'll be back at 3 because, you know, you said that. Some people are very lazy. They'll just keep the bowl out and you just grab it and go. Some people actually have like their kids come out with the candy and all that. In like Staten Island, it's really nice because you get to go to different like neighborhoods, and some people have really nice houses in Staten Island. Like they live like mansions, and you're like, I definitely want. They better be giving out good candy there. If not, then I'm gonna be pissed. You know, sometimes you get like your old people who didn't go candy shopping, so they'll throw you like change or like pencils in there, and I'm like, okay. You know, sometimes you also have like your really like your non-speaking like foreigners, so they'll give you like foreign candy. Like we went. There's like this lady here. She lives not so far from me, and she's like Chinese and she doesn't speak much English, so she'll give you like you can tell her little Chinese candies because they have the Chinese label on, like, you know, wording or characters on them. And so you get like you'll get a mix of things, and like it's really fun, and people stay out to like late hours. But then sometimes you have like your teens that are little like jerk offs, and they'll like put toilet tissue on like, you know, a tree or something, you know, like not even on a house but like on a tree. But it looks kind of cool though when you think about it. You're like, oh, I feel bad whoever's gonna have to clean it up, but it kind of looks cool. It looks more Halloweenish. And then some houses really go in on decorating. Like they'll have like the scary guy statues or stuff. And some people if they have like a big house, they'll turn their like driveway to their backyard into like a little haunted house kind of thing. So like they'll let kids walk in. There's one house in particular, if he doesn't turn his house into like a little mansion thing that you can walk through and then come back out, he'll like have a popcorn and cotton candy machine outside. Cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool things about like Halloween. It's really big, gets celebrated. You know, obviously.
They sell Halloween, well, at least here in Sydney, they sell Halloween stuff in the shops. Not all shops. In some of them, they do actually sell Halloween stuff, which is funny because nobody celebrates it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not really a thing, so I don't know why they sell this stuff.
Yeah, no,
here in New York, you'll have stores that pop up just for Halloween, and then they'll disappear right after.
I would completely agree with that because like for the last couple of years I would go out and like buy things and dress up and grab and buy like lots of candy, just in the hopes that I know kids and all that will dress up and knock on doors and trick or treat. Never ever happened.
And then Francois sitting there all sad with his candy.
Well, yes, Francois sits there all sad with his candy for about an hour, and then the next thing you know, Francois is stuffing his face with candy corn.
I'm gonna eat the candy myself because no one else wants to put me.
Because I have to say,
so
like,
funny.
I keep watching shows and movies and stuff about Halloween. I kept hearing about candy corn, and I finally found candy corn in Melbourne, and it is so beautiful.
Candy corn here is one of the candies you don't desire. Like it's like one of those like, oh, I got candy corn.
Oh really?
You know, everyone wants like the Kit Kats, the Twix, the gum. You know what I mean? Like those like popular candies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did you class as a good candy?
Yeah, they like the good candies are like the bigger popular ones, and you're like, yes. Like the candy corn is like, yeah, candy corn. No one really like. There's some people who actually like for the most part, it's like, you know. But if you get like the lollipops, the Twix, the Twizzlers, all that kind of stuff, people go crazy.
Yeah, you're all good.
Like my sister and I will get different bags, and then we'll swap based off whatever we like.
Interesting
Yeah.
question, Skylar. Have you heard of candy buttons?
Hmm.
No, I've never heard
Ah,
of candy buns.
yes, I found
What's
this.
that?
It's basically like little candy things that people make, and they stick it onto like, I don't know, what would you call glad bake in America?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
stick it
either.
on paper. They basically stick it on paper. And yeah, it's really weird. Anyway,
I
I
know
saw
what you're
it. So,
talking about. I know it. I've seen it.
you know it?
Yeah, and you can get them on like rolls of paper and you can just pick them off.
How is it that the two Australians know this?
That's so fun. It's because, you know, there's
it's
like,
not even really a thing here, is it though? It's just
No.
it could be a thing in like a different place, maybe in the like in America, but like here I've never heard
So
of
I was
it,
like,
like a
what
candy
are you
bun.
Australians talking about?
Like one of the cool candies to get for Halloween is like the things that look like a little Krabby Patty, and like they're chewy
Okay.
and gummy. Those are good. But
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, they look like a little burger, and the pieces are all separated, and you can like, you know, they're squishy and like gummy, but flavored, but they're
I know
good.
what you're talking about.
Wow.
My sister's like hunting me down for cereal. I'm like, here you go. She eats the cereal without the milk, so
Really?
it's very particular.
It's
Like
funny
she just had toast, and she likes plain toast, and now she has plain cereal.
Why not?
Speaking of cereal, there was a cereal I used to love in Australia, and it was out when I was a kid. Anyway, suddenly it just disappeared. And then the American website I've told you guys about where I get food, they had it.
What's the cereal?
It's called Corn Pops.
Corn pops.
Oh yes, my mom loves that. I've had that as a kid, and they still have it out. It's like popular. It's one of the popular cereals.
Wow.
See, there you
There's
go.
like there's that. There's Apple Jacks. There's Cookie Crisp.
You guys have a
Um,
bigger selection of cereal than we do in Australia. You have a
we have so many cereals. I'm like,
I don't eat
I get
cereal,
surprised.
but-
And then you have like your knockoff cereals that like they try to make them look like the original, but they're not. And like we have
We all
Cinnamon
know.
Toast Crunch, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is good. But
Okay,
then you
cool.
have I went to a supermarket the other day and they had like a bootleg version of it where it was called like Texas Toast Crunch, and I'm like, they look like little mini toast, and I was like, that looks like shit. Like it's not gonna be good. I'm not gonna get that.
Yeah, I saw
There used to be honeycombs.
I saw those crunch things in the cereal section of the website, and I was wondering if they tasted good. They looked really good.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch is good. That's like the original one, and that one's good. Honeycombs used to be really good too. They even have like now they have special flavors for like Frosted Flakes. Now they have cinnamon Frosted Flakes. They have chocolate. Oh my god, the chocolate Frosted Flakes is good. And the same thing with like the chocolate Lucky Charms.
Mm-hmm.
That's also really good. I just like chocolate cereals because then the milk gets chocolatey. Or cinnamon cereals, so the milk gets cinnamony.
Speaking of Lucky Charms, I have a question about that. What are the Lucky Charms?
Are they candies in it?
Oh no, they're like little marshmallows.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
You have like the marshmallows of like different things you would consider a Lucky Charm, like the horseshoe, the rabbit's feet, the 4-leaf clover, the rainbow. I'm trying to remember what else is it. It's like 7 like different kind of marshmallow
have
things.
Cereal as exciting as this here.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, the Lucky Charms is good, and then they have them in chocolate too. So like you have the Charms, which are marshmallows, and then you have like the rest of it is like regular like cereal bland flavor kind of thing.
See it on like cartoons or American shows or whatever. All these like crazy cereals with things in it. I'm like, where's our crazy cereal?
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys ever heard of Trix? Trix are for kids.
I was just looking at it. Yeah.
Those are so popular, but they're really good too.
I knew the saying. I never knew it was a cereal, but I knew the saying. Funny enough. But what is it? I'm looking at a picture of Trix now. Is it like fruit flavored?
It's fruity.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very like kind of fruity. It's like these colorful little round balls, and like they're just like fruity flavor. They taste very similar to if you ever had Fruity Pebbles. Like they taste like that, but Fruity Pebbles is like the flat version of it. Like the Trix are round into balls.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Fruit Loops are good.
It looks similar to Fruit Loops, but rather balls than rings.
Yeah.
Porcelain rings.
Yes,
And then-
charming description.
I'm trying to think what's another one that's
I'm
like
seeing
popular.
I'm seeing one here that it's not available at the moment, but I really want to try it. It's called Kellogg's Cinnabon.
Cinnabon.
Oh.
Do you
Was
know
it
that
good?
one?
Yeah. It's like a cinnamon flavor one. It's good.
Oh, good.
There's also one that's called Cocoa Puffs. That one's pretty popular, and you've probably seen in the commercials like I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's like a crazy bird that's brown, and he's really crazy for Cocoa Puffs. And it's just like they look like tricks, but like chocolate version. Like all of them are chocolate. Like, but it tastes really good because like the cereal gets all nice and chocolatey. So
nice.
yes, I recommend it. Cookie Crisp is another one that's pretty good too. Although they don't really make the cereal chocolatey. It's like mini versions of like chocolate chips as cereal.
Yeah.
Listen, if you come
There's Captain Crunch.
if you come to Australia, bring all your cereal because we don't have
Yes.
this.
Yes.
I'm just gonna become like one of those people with like a long jacket, and you unstrap your jacket, and you're like, I got all of them.
Yeah, like
I got all of them.
secret cereal dealings in the street and
Oh my
stuff.
gosh.
Like
I'm finding myself making the gestures as if you can see me.
I
I'm like
can
standing
see
up
it
making the
too.
gesture, and like I just talk with like my body.
Yeah.
like-
yeah.
I'm literally like just like in my pajamas. Let me see if I can get to show you guys. I don't know how to turn the camera thing on. Oh well.
click the little
But yeah,
thing
I'm just
icon.
literally like standing with arms wide.
There you go.
There you
Oh,
go.
here
It's
we
on
go.
and off. Look, that's my toaster. You got a really
I was like,
close up
bagel?
view of my toaster. Yeah, so I'm like
Bagel?
this. I'm like, I got them all. I got them all. Cocoa Puffs, Cookie Crisp. I'm literally doing that with like my hands. So I'm like this, talking to you guys, and I'm like, yeah, they can't see me do that.
Now
So-
we can.
I'm like
Yeah.
such a character sometimes. I'm like, I have a
I think
shiny
we all
light
are.
over my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone's like sinking. But yeah, that's what I was doing. And my sister, like, I'm telling you, she was eating the cereal. Can I put it that way? Just like killing that Apple Jacks. It looks like Fruit Loops, but they're
It
much
looks
better.
like Fruit Loops.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the Apple Jacks is here. Normally I have a whole bunch of cereals, but that's how the Apple Jacks looks. And in all the
Yep.
commercials, the apple and the cinnamon roll thing are competing.
oh.
And the cinnamon one always wins. Hmm
Oh, yeah.
You probably seen the commercial. We have like a whole bunch of stuff, waters, Gatorade, a whole bunch of crap.
You're like, what's
Pop Tarts.
of stylish
Good.
kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put one in my fridge.
my fridge?
We got these chocolate cashews. We got
Nice.
strawberry Pop Tarts, chocolate
Yeah.
I used to eat
I'm
Pop-Tarts
too
as a
short.
kid.
Yeah, same.
chips.
They don't sell Pop-Tarts
We have
anymore,
a
though.
pot in my thing.
You can get
Oh,
them
the
at like
Pop-Tarts are good.
specialist places.
Yeah, but they don't really sell them normally anymore.
No, and in America they have so many more flavors than we do here. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's so many flavors. There's
Oh my
strawberry,
gosh.
there's chocolate, there's Oreo, there's even like weird flavors that you probably shouldn't try because they're gonna taste like shit, like orange soda Pop Tart. Like
Oh my god.
sounds bad, But yeah, there's a lot of different flavors. Like
It
one
might
of
be
my
someone's
friends
thing.
was trying them.
I,
There's just certain things you shouldn't mix together.
I saw a s'mores one once and it looked really good.
I've never personally had that one, but I don't think it's one of the bad ones. I think the bad ones are like the soda flavored ones where you're like, I don't think you should be mixing that together.
It might be someone's thing, but no.
Not ours.
Who makes really weird food combinations are Japanese people. They make really weird food combinations.
Yeah, there's some places here that like will surprise you because like I was in like Brooklyn and they had it looks like a Spanish restaurant, but then when you go in, it's actually Chinese and Spanish food mixed together, and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, I love like Chinese food and Spanish food mixed together. I'm like, can I get shrimp fried rice like all the time? Just love shrimp. Oh, I have mail? Like, my family doesn't even give me my mail. Like, how rude. I'm like, look, this is where my letter is. It's in a, like, just hidden there, and I recognized it because of the school logo, and I'm like, no one gives me my mail. Like, that could have been very important. It is probably very important, or maybe not important. I don't know. Is there any more mail there? Possibly. This is why I have
Anything
to.
else you would like to contribute, Francois?
Sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to contribute, Francois? Are you
somehow
tired?
no, I'm totally fine.
2 a.m. here.
I know. Are you tired, Sarah?
I've been tired all day, so it's fine.
Oh.
That's why I wasn't going to talk much earlier, and then I was like, no, I'll join in.
And then, yay, you livened it up, because before you came, Skylar, it was just literally like me and Sarah talking. No one else was
Random
talking.
day. That's why I
That's
jumped on
so
in the
funny.
first place, because the other two weren't talking, and I'm like, oh no, I feel like I need to jump in and get this party started. So I came
Do you
Same.
guys have like lots of board games in Australia? Because we have like a whole bunch of board games here, and we have the giant size version too. Like, let me flip my
I mean,
camera
we have
over.
board games, but I don't
So
know.
we have
Oh,
like
wow.
Operation
I
Monopoly.
used to have that as a
Yeah.
kid, used to have that as a
Shoots in
kid.
there. These are my dog
Yeah.
shoes.
Had that.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, I'm going through all of them. Yep.
Clue. Clue's
Oh,
wonderful.
had that as a
Yeah.
kid.
Played as a kid,
Uno. And then we
Uno,
have
yeah.
the giant version of Jenga where they go up to like 5 feet high, the
Oh,
blocks.
That's awesome.
And the
Yeah.
giant Connect 4.
Oh, wow.
Although no one likes to play
Awesome.
Clue with me because I
Oh.
always win. And my dog's
No,
shoes.
me and Francois will just come to
Oh, you
America.
wanna see my
We'll
dog?
come to your house and we'll play games.
Yes,
Yeah.
we will.
Going to Skylar's house.
Skylar's house to play games. Aww.
There's my dog.
Oh, puppy.
That's my puppy,
What's your puppy's name?
Buster. He has a really big name for a small body.
We would say Buster.
Buster.
Yes, faster.
Now he's all excited because he's getting attention. And he has like a king size bed for himself. It has a crown and everything.
Oh, wow. That's a bit.
Yep. Now he just wants to play, but I'm like, I'm not going to pay him any mind right now. Gonna open up my letter that my parents forgot to give
Do
me.
you have any
Yeah.
pets, Francois? You don't have any pets, do you?
Not at the moment. I used to have around 20 cats, but I don't have any at the moment.
that. That's
Oh my
awesome.
god, 20 cats?
Yeah.
I think, didn't you say you had like 15 cats,
yeah.
Sarah? Somebody.
No,
Yeah.
Francois said that.
I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have
my
one
gosh.
cat. I would like lots of cats in the future when I'm older.
I'm like more of a dog person, but cats are cool. They're cute when they're like
love
really
cats.
small,
No.
and they're like.
At a young age,
I like when they get angry.
At a young age, I was referred to as the old cat lady.
That's so funny. No, I like making the cat sound to my dog when like he gets me pissed off. I go, and he like looks at me like, "What are you doing?" And I just like see if I scare him. Like,
Okay.
just like went away.
Oh, little thing.
Yeah. Aw.
He wants attention. Also, he likes sitting underneath the table because that's where he'll try to catch food. But, yeah.
I love cats.
Yeah.
I had dogs growing up. I had big dogs, but I like cats. Because
My cousin,
they're very selective.
Mhm.
So if they choose you, then you know you're all good.
Yeah.
Your cousin.
oh yeah, my cousin, he has a cat, a dog, 2 parakeets, a parrot, and a turtle, and one of those like earth snakes. He has like a zoo in his house. I could not have all those animals.
No,
I would drive myself crazy.
Oh, when I had like the 15, 20 cats, it was crazy.
that would definitely be a lot.
Like, especially when you open up like the tins to give them food and you've got like basically 20 cats stampeding into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, like but yeah, it's funny though to go from like 15, 20 to none.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't have that many animals because like one time it was just me and my dog here, and my family all went to upstate, and they're like, remember to feed the dog, and I'm like, yeah, and then I almost forgot to feed him that one day. I was like, oh my god, I was like, I can't have animals. I'll forget because like at least if I starve myself, it's myself. But like, dog, you just forget. Sometimes he's like sleeping like so lazily, and I just forget he's there sometimes. But yeah. It's like children. Like I'm like I don't want children right now because then I'll forget to feed them. Like I'm joking. I remembered to feed my sisters this morning, so I'm okay.
Cereal options to give your children.
Yes, they can eat cereal.
They can eat
Diets.
cereal.
Yep.
Jeez.
So I wonder if
God.
Angels is going to end up coming back or not.
Yeah, I was
I
just
wonder.
thinking about that.
Yeah, me too.
Angel
It'd be nice
speaks
for her
so
to
many
join.
languages. It's so cool.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she like spoke to me in Spanish the other day, and I think she made my soul cry a little bit. I was like, "Oh my god!" It's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah, I think she says she speaks Spanish, Dutch. I forgot the
Yep.
other languages. I just remember those two right now. But she's a translator, so she speaks a lot of
Yeah, she would.
languages.
Yeah, that's a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So she travels back and forth from London to Arnhem in the Netherlands.
It's also
She was
close
telling
as
me.
well, so.
Yeah.
So cool.
I had a British friend that said she went on a day school trip to France from
Oh,
England,
gosh.
and I'm like, we're not even getting to like another state in Australia within a day.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. Like Europe is really closely like connected. Like I think a train takes you to like different areas, and it's so different the schooling there as well. Because like one of my friends when she came down from like Germany, she was talking about how like they learn a second language or like as they're growing up, and then they pick up a third language in like their high school years. I'm like, here in America we're so lazy, you don't learn a second language until you're in high school, where it's like hard to learn another language when you're older than when you're younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I'm like we should all learn a language when we're younger, like a second
little
one.
bit of Japanese in primary school,
Okay.
That's cool.
and I think we had Spanish in high school.
Oh, go you. Now, I learned Japanese in high school, but in primary school, of all the languages, they taught Indonesian.
Really?
Random. That's
Yeah.
very random.
That is so random.
Exactly, and I've never used it, so.
Here I think the most common language to learn like in New York, as far as I know from high schools, it's usually like Spanish, and some of them will throw in French. If you go to like a fancier high school, you probably will get like Italian in there, but usually it's the universities that have like more options. Like I know my undergrad college had Spanish, French, Italian, Japanese, and Chinese.
Okay.
And Arabic. So they had like those options when I went to like college, but I didn't need to take a foreign language because I took it in junior high and in high school. So I already had the credits, so I didn't have to.
Well, what transfer I reckon, because we were talking about switch at birth the other week.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to learn how to do sign language, which is another language.
Completely agree.
Australian sign language and American sign language are a bit different from what I'm studying.
Yes,
So
they are.
A bit weird.
It's interesting because they say, well, like other places around the world, everyone has a different language, but in Australia, in America, in England, we all speak English, and yet all of the sign languages are different. The most obvious difference between Auslan in Australia or ASL in America is that in Australia we use two hands for a lot of things, where in America they use one hand.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Especially when spelling out things like letters or whatever, or just little things, you just require the one hand. Where even the second letter of the alphabet in Australia requires two hands.
Yeah,
Right.
I wonder how you'd work going from using sign language in Australia to using it in America, like if it would be easily picked up by someone that's
We were like in my
Nice.
house. We were going to learn sign language because one of my twin sisters, she's nonverbal because she has autism. Like right now, she's like plugging the toaster. Like she's trying to plug the toaster and show me the toast as a like hint that she wants more. Look,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mia, what do you want? Like she won't tell me, but she'll like show me what she wants, and she's going all the way to where the toaster is. So like we were gonna learn sign language for her, but she actually has a device where it shows her like it has verbs on them like I want more, eat, I want to play, like that kind of thing. So
Oh,
she like
cool.
would normally click them, but like
Yeah.
here in the house sometimes we don't use the device as much because we kind of tend to know what she wants,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can definitely
so
look
she
at
mainly uses it in school.
people's body language and stuff and figure out what they want, gesture towards things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Language is very interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Which charmed episodes you guys discussed earlier? Because I'm like, I feel like I remember
Oh,
most.
yes. Good point. Okay, let's see, Skylar. Let's see if you remember them.
13. We were 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18.
18. Yeah,
You're just gonna have to mention one of them because by
that's
numbers,
fine.
I'm like, what?
So,
Descriptions.
the first time that we meet Barbus,
The
Okay.
do you
Demon
remember
of
that?
Fear.
The Demon of Fear.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else. The Woogie Man.
Woogie man. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think if there are any that might stand out for you. The one where Prue has two other Prues. She has
Yeah, the
clones.
clones.
Oh yeah, that one was funny because they were all like doing different things, and then she
Yeah, that
felt the
one
other
was
one
funny.
die. The Woogie
Yeah.
Man was good too. I thought it was good because it comes into play later on again, like the spell.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. The end of it was. Did you get to the end of season 1 yet, or no? Because that brings
We
up
still have
so
four
many. Like it gets me so
episodes.
pissed off.
Next time, next chat, we're doing the last 4 episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ending of season 1 infuriates me like so much. Oh. Although, like, okay, so Francois, you've seen like Charmed backwards. You saw it with Paige first before
Yes.
Prue, right?
Yeah.
So, which one do you think you liked more?
Are you saying Paige or Prue?
True.
Mm-hmm. Like in terms of like that and like the sister dynamic.
Um, it's tough to say. I think there's a little bit of a bias for me because I started with Paige.
Yeah.
So I feel more
Right.
I feel more connected to the dynamic they have with Paige. I feel like
See, for me, it's the opposite. Mhm.
okay, go ahead.
If anyone doesn't know the whole new sister thing, just zone out at this part. Don't listen
Yeah.
while we have.
I think everyone knows, in a sense. I
most
knew
people
that
know.
before I started watching the show because when you watch the first, like on Netflix, the way it's promoted, it's with Paige
Yeah,
and not
she's
Prue.
in the
And then
last-
when you watch the episode, you see Prue. So then you're like, okay,
I
there's a change here.
like
Mhm.
Paige better. I do appreciate Prue, but I like Paige better. But I think that the dynamic between them with Prue is completely different than the dynamic between them and with Paige.
Yeah.
It just seems to be that they relate to each other differently because they're both completely different characters, and they had to get over like all that stuff with Prue going out of it.
Yeah.
Right,
And
like
moving on to Paige, so it's kind of like they have a different relationship. Sometimes I feel like they don't connect as much with Paige, like they do, but it's not the same as Prue.
yeah, for me, I feel like I have that bias that Francois has, but with Prue because she was the original 3 that I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I also thought that it was the dynamic was like it was funnier I think when Prue was around because she was I think a little more snappier with the comebacks than what
She definitely
I think
was,
Paige is for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But Also, it's like, it's a different feel that I have to get adjusted to. So, like with the sisters, I am getting adjusted to Paige, which makes it nice too, because then you kind of feel for the characters more.
Yeah.
And then you do get to see them like all kind of switch roles, like, Piper become like the older one, and,
She can be a
you
little more
know,
stern and a little more serious with Prue
right.
gone.
And sometimes I just liked Piper being the middleman, because she worked the middleman so well. Um,
Yeah.
and whatnot. But like now you have Phoebe as the middleman, and it like for me, it's like I'm so used to old Phoebe, and then they try to make Paige kind of like old Phoebe, but a little more stubborn, and like she has a little bit more of her own character because she grew up separately from them. So like for me, sometimes I'm like, it kind of runs a little false because like I'm so used to the first three, but like I also like their dynamic in a different way,
Yeah.
because I've noticed with Prue not around, the episodes tend to vary more around the girls. When Prue was in the show, a lot of episodes, Prue is hands on taking things and like getting things
Definitely.
done.
But I think that
So
was also because it was like early episodes and they were trying to still figure out the feel of like what direction they wanted to go with the whole season.
yeah,
So
so
that's part of that as well, I guess.
yeah, so I like the fact with Paige a little more just because you get to see the girls in different scenarios like equally, like you know what I mean? Um than when Prue was around. But like, I also liked when they were all single and mingling because it was like you had some funny things going on, and now like everyone's kind of diving off into relationships.
Yeah.
So just a question for
Think.
Francois quickly.
Yeah.
What time do you want to head off? Because it is 2:15 a.m. here.
Yeah, probably I would say in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same.
If that's all right. Yeah, just because it's as Sarah was saying, it's going to be at 2:30 at that time in the morning.
Yeah, here it's 12:15 in the afternoon. I woke up literally at like 11. Oh, but I do hate though that like Paige has to call out things to get them. I just wish like Prue, she can just catch them by surprise and not say it. You know what I mean?
But I
I
guess
feel
they
like it's
have
very
to,
obvious when you're doing it.
they have to make hers different to Prue's, I guess, in some way.
Yeah,
Otherwise it's too
although
similar.
I was so hyped about like me getting her powers right prior to, because I was like trying to guess. It's like, okay, maybe she's gonna be a long lost sister from like that line or whatever. And I'm like, how are her powers gonna be? I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if she was doing this. And I was telling my boyfriend that, and I got it right. And when I got it right, I was like, I told you so. I told you so. I was like such a big kid.
So sorry to interrupt, but we just got a message on the YouTube chat under a different name, but from Dario saying that he wanted to come on for a few moments. So he's going to make his way on really soon to say hi.
Yay, Dario.
Jump in.
Ooh, I just came up with a topic that we can discuss for the last 15 minutes if we want to. It's still about like TV and media, but the topic would have been more of like typecasting in the social media, because we talked about it a little bit in like movies. You tend to see some of the same range of actors play the same range of things, and like I'm a big fan of getting new actors playing and seeing new faces, and you kind of get to see common faces a lot. Like right now you see Jennifer Lawrence and like everything, and you see a lot of Bradley Cooper or like Ryan. You get like a certain cast, and like The Rock is always the big guy, or Vin Diesel. And I'm like, what happens to other new faces that have like new talents? Like I didn't get to see the new Star Wars movie or like the Rogue One or whatnot, but like I heard the female in that movie, she has really good acting ability, and she's also like a new face to the industry. So I was thinking that maybe when Dario comes on, that could be like a part of a snippet of a topic.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Sarah. Sorry.
No, I said exactly the same thing that you said. I just said definitely.
No,
you guys are thinking the same.
Yeah, we seems like it.
One thing I will say, like an example of someone trying to get out of typecasting, I don't know how much you guys know about Jessica Biel, but different people have seen her in different things. I started watching her in Seventh Heaven.
I did too.
And she was very, you know, nice, sweet, placid girl, and then suddenly something happened behind the scenes, and the next thing you know, she's doing like action films and all this different stuff, and you know, she did what she could not to be typecasted.
Right, and now Jessica Biel, she's in like a psychological thriller show now. I don't know if you've seen it or I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but in the trailer, it's just she was a normal mom on the beach with her kid, and then she walks over and stabs a guy to death. And so, like,
Oh yeah, I've
people
seen
in
it
the
after
people
that.
are trying. Yeah, you've seen it, right? And like,
Yeah.
people are trying to figure out what went wrong with her. Is
Yeah,
it
why did she get
psychologically,
stabbed?
or did she
Wow.
like pretend? So, like, I think she is really trying to
I
take on
saw
different
her
things.
in a movie recently where this her next door neighbor comes to babysit her child, and then the next door neighbor finds out that her child is actually a doll, and that she's
Oh.
pretty much going through a lot of trauma from losing her real child.
Oh,
But
that
she
sounds
sees
interesting.
this child as like a real child, even though it's just a doll. And people are like, like, are you serious? But the next door neighbor was just going along with it, and then yeah, so that was really interesting because it was very different as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm considering watching her new show because I'm a big fan of psychological thrillers. I like to think, and I'm like, I like to, I like to say, ooh, maybe they are crazy, or ooh, maybe they're faking it. And like,
Right.
so I'm like,
Something in the water,
so,
who
and
knows?
yeah. Also, I just like to see like the different ranges actors can go. It's like that's one thing because like every time you see like The Rock, like he's either a funny guy or like a big muscular tough guy, and then like every time and like if you've seen the Fast Furious movies, like Michelle Rodriguez, she's always like
The tough
typecast
chick.
either as like the tough chick or like the tough Spanish chick, like even in the movie SWAT. So I'm like, when are like roles going to open up for different kind of people, like how I mentioned earlier, if you're Asian, you're either like a very skilled fighter or you live in a village and you're like a monk.
It's
And I'm like,
it's like a lot of comedic actors that do like comedies. You rarely see them in like more serious roles, like drama movies and stuff. So it's interesting
yeah,
when
I
you see
mean,
them jump over into a more serious role.
yeah, I think one actor that does a great job playing something different all the time is like Johnny Depp. Like I always feel like
Yeah.
I've seen him in like I think I've seen him play like about everything, But my thing is too, when are we going to see people of other descents play things? Like obviously I get it in like a movie that's like a historical piece. You're not going to see a black person play like a slave master. Like that's just not going to happen because historically that's not going to
that's
like
not
it doesn't
correct.
work for the movie. And but I feel like a lot of roles are written for more of like the whiter race. And I'm like, we're very mixed. I'm like, I don't see why we can't have someone of a different descent, play that
Yeah.
role.
Exactly.
Which is not a movie or anything, but in this Harry Potter stage show in London, they've obviously cast Hermione as a black woman, so a lot of people are very, have different opinions on that because
Wow.
it's actually, and the child that her and Ron have together is
Yeah.
a little black girl as well, which is completely different to what they portray in books. Well, I don't remember specifically how they, but yeah, completely different. So that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think that's
awesome.
cool. But I think also just, in terms of like, like that's a book to a movie to a stage kind of thing. I get it that like in certain books, certain characters are written to look that way. Like for saying like Shadowhunters, Clary's meant to be white with red hair and like green eyes. Like, a lot of characters want to see that envisioned.
Yeah.
So I completely like understand like book to film transition being a little different, but just general like films, I'm like I feel like the cast can be a bit more diverse. But then again, I also get that there might not just be a lot of people of that race, you know? Like I feel like sometimes you see Jennifer Lopez in certain films and I feel like sometimes she gets a little whitewashed in like certain films, and I'm like that. She's a Latina woman. She could be Latina in the film. You don't have to give her like a whiter role, like you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe they just don't take that direction, And sometimes you get really phenomenal actors, like Viola Davis is a wonderful like black actress, and like but she'll play certain roles, and you don't get to see her like stretch out and do different roles. And it would be like a great thing to see someone who's like big and great on screen like that play something you wouldn't expect, you know?
Just letting everyone know that it is 2:23 a.m. here in Australia.
Yeah.
So we're going to head off soonish.
I'm
So we're
trying
waiting for
to,
Dario.
yeah, I'm trying to get Dario onto the stream. We're just having a few technical difficulties in the background, but you guys keep going, and yeah,
What-
but you guys keep going, and I'll try and get him over here.
Yeah.
So,
What do you guys
I mean,
think of the movie Cloud Atlas? I don't know if you guys ever seen it
I've never seen
or
it.
heard of it.
No, I
You've never
haven't.
seen it. I think it's a good movie. How about you, Francois? Have you ever seen Cloud Atlas?
No, sorry.
It's a small cast, and the two big names in it is Tom Hanks and Halle Berry. And it's a movie that most of the most of the small cast plays different characters. You'll get to
Okay.
see Halle Berry play
Google
an Asian woman.
for this
Mhm.
movie, actors Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, and Jim Broadbent take on multiple roles in an epic that spans 5 centuries. An attorney harbors a fleeing slave on a voyage from the Pacific Islands in 1849. Yeah, so it's basically
Yeah,
based on.
it's a very interesting movie because basically the concept takes place in different time periods, and these actors, you'll see them. You won't recognize it at first because I don't know who did like the costume and makeup, but they do such a great job that like in one part, Halle Berry is playing a white redheaded woman. And I'm like, I like
Interesting.
didn't know that was her, but like Tom, you get them to switch and they play different characters, and it works really well because they're not even playing characters of their same race.
Yeah.
And like, I get where that could be a little wishy-washy because, people are like, why don't you just hire someone of that? But the whole point was it's supposed to be a small cast because all of these characters are interrelated throughout the 5 centuries. And if you have to pay very close attention because some parts of the movie is taking place in the present, some are taking place in the future, and some are taking place in the past. And it's all scrambled up. But like when you get the full movie, you can set the timeline and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that was
That
so
sounds
cool. Like,
interesting.
yeah. It's very different. I think very different from things that are shown today. So I enjoyed the movie. And then I also enjoyed just the group of actors playing different ethnicities and races, and you get to see them change their dialects and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments on the YouTube comment section, seeing what's going on.
Yep. Yeah. Just trying to get Dario on here, but he should.
Or today, Lady Jazz. That's the other name.
Sorry?
Can I
yes.
go on YouTube while I'm here? I'm like trying to see if I can still hear you guys and go on YouTube at the same time. Oh, I can.
Yeah, oh, Dario is here.
I made it! Yay!
Hello, Dario.
Yay! Hi, Dario.
Hola! How is everyone?
We are good.
Good. I just woke up like an hour ago.
Yeah. You made it just in time.
You did.
If I missed this charm chat, I would have done something drastic.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there wasn't very many people on this particular charm chat, but that's all right.
Yeah.
That's offensive. Charmed is the best show ever.
Exactly.
I feel like now that I've started to walk up clothes that are close to like what the girls were wearing in this show, and someone was like, "Ooh, that's very like 90s, 80ish." I'm like, "Thank you. That's what I was going for today." So yeah,
I definitely have some weird outfits in charm. Paige wears some pretty strange stuff, but I guess it's normal for the 90s. A lot of midriff cut off clothes.
Yeah, I like some of their outfit choices. Like I like the shirts with the open backs kind of thing, and like the chokers. Like that's very me on like a regular when I'm not dressed, in a suit for work. So like I get to be more expressive. Like it was the same thing when I was watching like Buffy, I started dressing like Faith a little bit, and it was so like I was going through phases. Like I don't know why. And like when someone asks me like how are you doing, I'm like 5x5, yeah. Like you take on the roles. But yeah.
Who had the most? I think the most badass dressed was. Oh, I'm gonna say Proof the first 3 seasons. Then Piper kind of took over that kind of boss kind of role, and then
Yeah.
I guess in the most sexiest, I think Phoebe probably dominated that. But
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think Phoebe done the most with hair.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, she definitely had a lot of hair
One thing
changes.
that annoys me with Phoebe, how she said she went blonde in season 3, and that's not blonde. It wasn't blonde, honey. It was dark. It was your normal hair color with lighter brown highlights in it. So
Yeah, yeah.
If we're gonna get technical.
No, it's a very technical thing with shades. Like when I dye my hair, I don't go blonde, I go lighter brown. And so when people be like, "Is that blonde?" I'm like, "No, it's a lighter brown." I'm like
Here's a
tan. I
question.
don't do good in blonde.
Do we
My
prefer
favorite moment with Phoebe is when she realizes she has when she gains the power of levitation, and she just flips up in the air. She's like, oh, oh, oh.
do we prefer
Yeah.
Paige
Drops
with
the voice
dark
like,
hair
"Connected
or
power,
lighter
connected
hair?
power."
So just a moment. Okay, two things. First of all, guys, we're going to try not to talk about things outside of season 1 in case it's a spoiler, but thank you for the enthusiasm. And secondly, and that's okay, Dario, you didn't know. And secondly, Sarah's trying to ask a question about Paige. Sarah, what were you saying?
Yeah.
Do we prefer Paige with darker hair or the lighter orange hair?
I think if you want her to blend more with the sisters, they're all darker hair, and that's what looked really good with the first original 3. They all have that shade of dark. But I like that she does the change because Phoebe does the change in hair very often, so it kind of just shows like her phasing out through a different thing. Like I think that's a very like natural thing for like females. Like I know when I'm going through my phases, my hair would be either in layers or I'm gonna wear it curly or I'm gonna dye it lighter. So I feel like the change for her seems very natural because a lot of them go through their phases. I think
Yeah.
Piper is the only one who's had her hair pretty much the same for the most part. But I think in terms of her skin tone, I think the lighter one goes better with her because she doesn't look as washed out with the black. But like if she wants to look just like the sisters, black. But if she, the lighter color doesn't look bad.
Here's a question: Do you prefer older Wyatt and Chris? Which one do you prefer out of those two? Which one's hardest?
Keeping in mind, careful of spoilers.
Yeah. So we can say character name. We can. Okay. All right. Let's make clarification.
It's okay. That's where I'm up to right now.
we can say a character name, but let's not talk about what they do in the show.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
All right. So what was your question about two characters that we don't know anything about, Wade and Chris? What was your question?
Do we prefer older or younger?
Which one's hottest?
Oh.
I'm gonna say, I'm a hair person, and like older Wyatt has nice hair, like that nice Jesus looking hair. But I'm gonna say in the show he looks very older, and there's a mustache thing going on that I don't find too appealing. So I'm gonna go with Chris. But I love Wyatt's hair because and I love his shape because he's nice shape.
If we're talking about season 1, my worst episode, one that I can watch it, but with a blindfold, and it's the one. What's the name of it now? It's the one where the demon. What's she called now? It's at the wedding. And what's she called?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
I'm good with remember the names, but that's an episode that I can't watch.
However, I think the guy who was the hottest on the show that I've seen so far was the neighbor Dan. He was so good looking and he had nice hair.
I never found him attractive at all. Yes, I know
Hi,
what
Sarah.
episode you're talking about, Dario.
I'm a teenager, so I'm allowed to say this. You know, oh, actually, no, I'm not allowed to say because never mind.
We'll
The one
never
you
know.
the one you're talking about with the wedding, are you talking about the one that happens sort of earlier on in season 1?
Yeah, it's the one
Yeah.
where
You're talking about Hecate.
The cast.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The priest. Oh my! I can't speak about that. Never mind. Never mind.
But Sarah, what was your answer out of Wyatt and Chris?
What attractiveness wise? Is
Yeah.
that what we're talking
Mhm.
about? I don't find either of them attractive, and I have no answer to that.
Interesting. So Skylar says hair Wyatt, but Chris. Sarah says neither of them. I'm saying Wyatt. So let's go to Dario.
I'm going to say Chris because
Bye-bye.
I seen that man. I seen that man with his pants and shirt off. So
Okay, fair enough.
I was like the body and the hair from Wyatt, but like I think Chris's face is prettier. Like not prettier, but like handsomer.
No, I don't find
If
any
I'm
of
just
the
saying,
guys
if I
in
have
it
to pick from
attractive.
the two
No,
post show, it was going to be Dan, the neighbor. Like, yeah, I'm still on that.
no, I don't find any of the men in the show personally attractive for some reason.
I had a weird. I went through a phase, and only through season 1, where Leo was just very
Oh,
awkward,
yeah.
and I hated him for so long.
He was a
Oh,
little
me
bit
too.
awkward.
I hated Leo for a while. What made me not, because Leo's not ugly,
Did
right?
you just-
But what made me
is that you,
not
Francois?
attracted to him.
That was me,
Oh,
yes. I love Leo.
I know. I mean, I was just saying he was like kind of. I do like Leo. Like I've grown to like him and respect him as a
I
character.
like him as a
And I
character.
think he's attractive. I don't think Leo's an ugly character, but his teeth get to me, and I'm like, they're cringeworthy a little bit.
His
And like
acting.
teeth matter to me.
Okay, if you watch Leo in some of his crying scenes or his angry scenes, any time throughout the whole series, it's really funny in my opinion because he's not that good.
Did you guys see he's in a movie called
Sorry,
Sleepwalkers or something?
okay.
I left the link.
No, I haven't. But you should look it up.
He's in a movie where he's playing like a villain monster thingy, and I left the link in case you guys wanted a snippet of it. I'm like, oh my god, look at Leo being bad. He's like demon, but yeah.
But
Yeah. From one block. The block is, can I just talk about? I was heartbroken that Jeremy turned up to be a bloody demon because he was hot.
Agreed.
I really wanted him to be nice.
Agreed.
You know what? Even if he was bad and he would just still stayed with mine, I wouldn't mind. Oh my god, no. I need to say, the waiters in Quake, no, they were something else. They were gods. I'm sorry, but elders had
Yes.
oh my gosh, is it just me that doesn't find any of them attractive? All the guys? Like I would say that I think Phoebe is attractive because
Well-
I am into men and women, but like other than that, none of the men are attractive to me.
Well, for me, it's on and off. Like, it depends. Like, it varies. Like, for me, most of the time, my type of, like, guy is, like, Angel from, like, Buffy.
So angry.
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
Francois loves
That's
him,
more of,
too.
like, my type. I'm very, like,
I had a
the
crush
dark
on him.
hair, mysterious. Like, you could possibly be a psycho and I won't know. Kind
He's
of.
a little bit innocent at the same time. I don't know.
I don't find anyone attractive. In Buffy, I found the women more attractive than the men.
If, yeah, like, you know, full-on Francois T secret divulge. If I was ever to have a celebrity husband, it would be David Boreanaz if I could choose. But as Angel, not as in Bones.
Not as anyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the character as well that plays into it.
Yes, exactly.
But in Angel,
But, yeah.
I had a crush on Lindsay as well. Lindsay, you know the guy that had his hand chopped off and everything in Angel.
I don't watch Angel.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
It's
yes.
been a while.
Lindsay. Yes.
Lindsay
Like, he
worked
was
at
the
the law
attorney
firm.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked for Wolf in the Rainforest.
Oh, yes, that's
And
right.
Oh, his death was. I love that last episode because his death, he was like so mad that Wesley shot him. And he goes, You're the one that's gonna kill me. Like he thought he was so much bigger than that. And like his death just proved that he wasn't. But yes. Yeah, he was good looking. I'm not gonna lie. I liked him too when he I don't know, he had a guitar moment, and I was like, ooh, you can sing me a lullaby.
My favorite moment, just going back to Charmed, was that grandfather clock. I felt so bad for it. I really, really did.
Like the poor grandfather clock.
The grandfather clock. It was. The clock. It kept getting blown up, and I felt really sorry for it. Like imagine the prop of that. They must have had hundreds of those grandfather clocks.
I think they must have hundreds of the set props, or they might have been changing the set props slowly without us noticing. They're we can't keep replicating this shit.
The thing is, in the show, it's never discussed. Things get ruined all the time, and then they're just back to normal again.
Yeah, no, Charm definitely. I enjoy it very much. I'm trying to think what else from Charm that I enjoyed.
I'm gonna look up an episode list because I can't. I need to look at episode titles to make it come back to me.
For me, once I get a snippet of it, I'm like, oh, I remember, or a part of the name I'll remember.
I don't remember the names, but if there's an explanation.
I remember when I was first watching Charmed, I had a portable DVD player, and I was only about 7. So I would go into my room, my mum would turn the lights off, I'd go to bed now, but I pretended to be asleep, put the covers over my head, and just watch Charmed all night on the little portable. And I used to
one character.
Everything.
Oh, finish, Derry. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, thank you. I used to recite every word, every single line they would say. I'd sit in my bed reciting every single line they were saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny. No, for me, one character that I liked and then grown disliked in Charmed was Cole.
Yes, thank you.
I'm only up to season 5, but I'm he's
Remember, we're not saying too much about Cole.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say much. I'm just saying I liked his character, and I think he had development. And then it got to a point where they kept playing him too much, as an on and off threat, and very redundant.
Redundant.
That's it.
Sorry, guys. Let's have a 4 of us shout out to Angels who's saying hello on the YouTube chat.
Hi, Angels.
Hi, Angels. Oh my God, we said at the same time. You totally owe me a soft drink.
That's funny.
I love hearing you say soft drink.
Yeah, I had to think about it before I said it.
I was secretly writing down all these little Australian things. Got a little book.
Oh my God, who else's hearts broke in the episode The Truth Is Out There and It Hurts when Auntie...
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bit sad.
Am I still on camera?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I see you on camera.
It disappeared from me then. My heart broken. That was so sad. One line, the most iconic line for me in Charmed is the very first episode. Phoebe is going to Piper. Piper's like, we got an aunt who's a manic and a dad who's invisible. And then the line, what it is, Phoebe goes, with the protector of the innocent, we're known as the Charmed Ones.
And she's driving away, yeah.
She's just there in her pajamas with a cup of tea in her hand. And you know what? You guys won't know, but there's nothing more British than that. Seriously. She's out there in the middle of the street in her PJs with a cup of tea in her hand going, we're the Charmed Ones.
Quick question about Charmed, because I don't know if I'm noticing something that's not even there. But is, you guys know Jason?
Yeah.
Was he recast, or did he just legitimately cut his hair and just got more masculine in the face?
No, he wasn't recast, no.
Hang on.
So he's... Wait, who? So...
Jason
Jason.
was recast.
Jason was amazing. That was a wonderful recast from Pretty Little Liars. He was sexy.
Oh yeah, he was.
Someone who
Oh,
did
yeah.
get recast was their father, season 1.
Yeah, I did notice that. Mhm.
I'm glad, to be honest. The father in season 1 was really bad. It was awful.
Yeah, so I was like watching that, and I was like, did he get recast, or he just got like that buzz cut and like became a little more like you get to see his facial features develop more, maybe because he's not as young. So I was
It
like,
took
I don't
me a
know.
second to figure out who you were actually talking about in Charmed. Then I was like, "Who's Jason?" And now I know. We're good.
So just 1 second, Sarah.
Yeah.
Can you explain it to me then? Because I'm still up in the air.
Or Skylar can-
Jason is basically, you know how Phoebe gets a job much later on
Oh,
at
yes,
the
yes,
baker
yes, yes,
place.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Yep, sure. Yep, now I'm with you. Okay. Yep.
Him and Phoebe have a lot of sexy time, let's put it that way.
Yeah, know who you're talking about. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank God I wasn't the only one because I was like,
Am I the only one who found incredibly hot Rex?
No.
Rex. Who's
Ooh.
Rex?
Kind of.
I don't know.
Wait,
No,
who's
no,
Rex
no.
again? Oh my god, I'm
He's
forgetting.
the owner of
Season-
Buckland, the
Buckland.
Buckland.
evil guy.
Oh.
No, not at all.
I don't know
No,
whether
I
I don't know
did
whether
not.
he went on a date with Phoebe and it was magical. Quite literally, it was literally magic. Like, but,
He was British, definitely.
but I just something about him that I found really attractive.
I definitely cannot agree with that, but that's your own thing, so that's cool. That's okay.
How did you guys feel about what was it? What do you call it now? The thing that lives in the basement, but they don't
The
call
Wookiee?
it.
The Woogie Man?
Or the-
Yeah, that's it. That's just saying that word makes me laugh out loud.
Woogie, 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 boogie, boogie, boogie.
Woogie woogie, can't you see? Sometimes
I feel like that's it. Yeah, I feel like that's a song in something. Or woogie, woogie. I'm telling you, now it's like bothering me because I feel like it was in a song and something. I can't remember.
you know, like the Woogie Man possesses you. You can change the song to Woogie Woogie Woogie, can't you see? Sometimes you gon' possess me.
Oh gosh,
I'm
the
just
only thing
looking
I
at-
could think of Woogie is Boogie, but yeah.
my favourite episode in season 1, I've just decided, is Which Prue Is It Anyway? That episode.
Yeah. We were all saying
Yeah.
before that that's a really good episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a lot of good
Does anyone know what
episodes.
happens in? Oh wait, yeah, the Grimlocks. The Grimlocks is like an iconic episode, I think.
Oh yeah. I am the only thing I dislike a little bit towards like these upcoming seasons is without giving much away, Phoebe isn't very Phoebe has powers, right? And just
Yeah.
her first one isn't as relevant as it is in like the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
And I think the writers noticed that, and they purposely made an episode about that, where they're like, you're not using this as much, and I'm like, I caught on to that.
See, what confused me about Phoebe's power is she had the power of premonition, but the show hints at it all the time, even in season 1. Oh, on the camera there. Sorry, I'm just reading something. I think her power of premonition wasn't as developed as it should have been. As she goes on about things like in Which Prue Was It Anyway, she says, if Prue died, I would be able to feel it. And the show kept hinting all the way through 8 seasons that this premonition power was more than we all thought, but we never got to see that. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's lacking, and like I'm on season 5 now, and I feel like at some point after Prue, it just that kind of lacks out. Like, it just kind of goes away, and I'm like, that was a part of one of her like that was a badass power, and I was expecting her to to like develop it, as well as the seer. You know what I mean?
Let's be honest. Phoebe's powers had no relevance. What gave her strength was the fact that she knew martial arts.
Yeah, I know. Once they all started learning martial arts, I was like pissed. I was like, no, that's supposed to be Phoebe's thing. Prue cannot be like flipping backwards from ceilings. Like, I'm sorry. I was like, that's Phoebe's like thing. Why are they all doing it? Like, they all should be terrible fighters. But yeah, I guess you learn along the way.
One thing I'm not okay with, and I'm going to say this very vaguely and hope you guys get it because it is something further on in the thing, but I won't give anything away. Let's just say that I got very annoyed about Prue's other power and the fact that they were able to do something with that in a later season without any explanation at all. I hope you guys can get something from that. If not, I'll message you guys.
I'm like trying to think, and I'm like,
Yeah, I didn't hear that properly. Like, can you re-explain that for a second?
It was in season 7, and they were fighting a certain demon, and they knew.
Okay, I'm not gonna know because I'm not on season 7.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well,
like
I
that
thought
makes
you
sense for me.
Anyway, okay,
Mhm.
very vaguely, there's something in season 7 that really, really gets on my nerves really badly, but we won't get into that.
Okay. All good.
Something I always thought, the kitchen is literally filled with all these weird, like toad's feet and, what's it called? Brisbane, and what's that really? Mandrake root. And
Yeah.
what happens when these girls, like anyone literally, they have normal people over, go into the kitchen and see all this weird stuff. Like, they keep it so out in the open. And I'm like, what? Like, anyone could go, anyone. And the clear cabinets as well. You look in one of those cabinets, you'll be very creeped out.
That's true, but I suppose they don't always have many strangers in their house all the time.
Yeah, you really don't see like a lot of different people in their house. I feel like the only person that you see there besides like the main like 4, you know, because there's like what you call it, Leo is in there. You kind of see what is it, Darrell? He's like the detective. Am
Morris.
I forgetting his name already? Yes, Morris. Why did I call him Darrell? I have no idea.
Daryl? Are you talking
But
about Daryl?
Daryl, yeah, Daryl. I'm calling him Darrell for some
Darrell.
reason. Yeah, Daryl. You know what it is? I'm watching like MTV's The Challenge, and there's a character called Darrell.
It's funny.
Like Daryl, he's always like in there sometimes, every now and then. He would be the only one, but like, you know, he knows stuff, so like, I don't think he'll find it very awkward. But
Something that
letting
made
you
me
know. Just
Oh
letting
my
you know,
God.
Just letting you know, Francois has popped off for a second. He will be back, so keep chatting.
okay.
I'm still here, obviously.
something
One
that
part though that I did like with its episode with Morris, it's later on, but I won't spoil much. Paige gives him a power to help him with a hostage scenario situation.
Yes.
Does anybody remember it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like spells backfire, and it's backfiring on him, and I thought it was so funny. You just get that little snippet scene of him.
Oh, yeah. That is really funny, actually. And something that confused me in the kitchen as well is they're using all the same pots and pans to cook their food in. So I hope we have a good fairy washing up liquid detergent kind of thing to clean all that stuff. Does that make sense? I don't know if it did.
Yeah, it does make sense. It's like, you know, you're mixing up your witch potions. You don't want to accidentally, you know, eat a vanquishing spell.
So, just,
You know?
can we just change the subject for a
My
second?
best moment, I think. Oh, wait, no.
Nope. We're still going.
It's not a huge spoiler anyway, so I'm pretty sure it's in season 2. But anyway, Piper's one-liner. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is in season 1 because it's in The Truth Is Out There in Your Heads. Piper and Prue, like, they're going at each other because there's a truth spell. And Piper goes, "Is this decaf?" And Prue says, "Is this decaf?" And Piper goes, I never ever make a decaf. That's just something that's funny for me because obviously Pri's a very uptight person. And
She is very.
I would
She
have
is
felt like
very uptight.
I would have felt like she would have known the difference between decaf and non-decaf coffee, but obviously not.
It's sometimes hard. Like I haven't had caffeine in so long in my diet that if I have something decaf, I probably wouldn't be able to tell anymore because sometimes you get some really good decafs that like taste the same. Like I trick my sister into it all the time because she's 12 and she thinks like Starbucks is like one of the greatest things ever, and I'm like, yeah, she's gonna have the decaf because it has extra sugar, and like she totally buys into that all the time. Now, whether if it's a healthier option, I have no idea. Because, it's like the diet soda thing. Everyone thinks diet soda is a little more healthier than regular soda, and apparently that comes with its own, like, health issues. But, yeah.
I think most processed things come with health issues these days. Things
Everything
could be
comes
bad
with
for
health
people.
issues.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you eat all raw natural food, then you're probably going to have to get some stuff in there that you don't like.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I have a lot of people on my Facebook now converting into veganism, and then they try to convert you into it, or like they'll tell you you're a bad person if you don't, or like they'll make themselves seem unfair. I'm like, I'm sorry, I like my meat, so
If
bye.
I think someone told me this. I don't know if it was you guys, so if it was you guys, I'm just repeating information. But someone pointed out to me that there's a bed in the attic that they never use.
There's a what in the where?
There's a bed in the attic all the time, just a random bed that they never use.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think it was. I know I didn't mention that.
I just find it quite funny how there's literally the producers must have just thrown in just any old things.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that either, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh my god, what is your favorite things to eat? Like really quickly, because I'm like making my sister some spaghetti thing right now, and so like I'm just thinking about food.
Yeah, let's talk about food.
I know my favourite
Just
food.
really quickly.
Have you
Out of
guys ever tried
seafood.
a full English breakfast?
Like eggs
what?
and bacon and sausages and stuff.
Full English breakfast?
Yeah,
Yes, there. Yeah.
it's good. I can't eat a lot of food. Like I don't eat gluten. I don't eat dairy. So I eat a lot of meat and vegetables. So that kind of breakfast sounds pretty good.
Tyler, have you got a pen and paper? I want you to write something down so you can cook this. It's called a full English breakfast.
Okay, 1 second. Let me grab. Oops! I just touched my dryer button.
Oh, it sounded like a door or something, a doorbell.
Yeah, it's like it's a button, and when like it finishes drying, it makes that sound. But like since it's plugged in, if you bump into the button, it'll make that sound, and it's like terrifying at times because you don't expect it to just go. Ah, and I'm like, oh my god.
Francois, are you back
Okay.
yet?
Yes.
Okay, what was the breakfast stereo?
Okay. It's called a full English breakfast, and you are going to need. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Bacon,
Got it.
sausage,
I don't have it, but I can get it.
black pudding,
There you go.
I don't got that either. That's different.
tinned chopped tomatoes
Okay.
or tomatoes. 'Cause you're American.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes. That's what we call
What
them.
else? You're going to need some scrambled eggs cooked in a microwave, not a pan.
Oh, very specific.
Microwave? That's so
Yeah.
So you
different.
write that down.
Can you make that? How many minutes do you leave it in a microwave?
So you crack your eggs into a bowl and whisk it with a fork, add a little bit of milk, pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and take it out, give it a whisk again, pop it back in for 2 minutes.
Oh my
So,
gosh! I'm gonna give you a Spanish way of making some eggs, but go ahead, continue.
I'm trying to think, it's so much. You need some fried bread,
Okay.
Oh my, there's so much. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. You need some hot mustard, hot English mustard.
This is a really big breakfast.
Oh, it really? You have no idea. Oh my god, there's so much that I can't even. Oh, it'll come to me. Have I got down? Oh, you need normal bread as well. Just bread.
Right.
As opposed to
Not
not
bread.
normal bread.
I'm trying to do this the Manchester way because in England there's so much to. Oh, you need fried eggs as well. There's fried eggs on it.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to be using all my appliances, basically. Got it.
Yeah. You need. Oh, there's so much. It's so hard to think. Well, we'll keep with that. I'll add if we come up with anything else.
Okay, I got two simple ingredients you gotta add to eggs, and you'll have like kind of a Spanish way of eggs. Ready?
Yeah.
So, you pop it's scrambled eggs, right? So you take your 2 eggs, you scramble them, right? But you're gonna add these things called salchichas. In English, they should be called Vienna sausages.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know what those are. They come
Yeah.
in like a blue little can. So you get the Vienna sausages, you chop them up into little circles, you put them in the mix where you have your scrambled eggs, and then you're going to take this thing called sazon, and you guys might season your meat with it. It's very popular to season your meat here in New York with it. It's from Goya. It's an orange little packet, and the thing in it is orange. And it's like an orange little seasoning. You put a little bit, not the whole thing. You put some of it to get your eggs from yellow to a little orangey. And you mix it in with the Vienna sausages, and then you put it in to fry in your pan. And then you have huevos con salchichas. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I don't think we have any Australian recipes that
I
we
think
can use.
I've got that down. All that. I've got scrambled egg, Vienna sausages, mix them with the scrambled egg.
Sazon. Mm-hmm.
Sazon, I can't pronounce it.
Sazon is Sazon, and then there's like a hyphen over the O. Sazon.
I'm the worst Spanish person, I'll tell you. I got dropped from Spanish in high school. That's how bad I am.
I'll show you how it looks. Let me see if I can get my camera open. How do I do that? Oh. Did it work? I don't know. Oh, okay. So, this is sazon. And they come in little orange packet thingies, and they're orange. You can use them to season your meat. They're really good for flavoring. But anyway, you use a packet like this. Not the whole packet, unless you're making a shit ton of like scrambled eggs. But if you're making like 2, you only need like a little bit because they'll turn it orange really quickly. And then look at my cans. Got too many cans here. We believe in Goya products. If you're Hispanic, tiene que ser Goya. So there's these little Vienna sausages. We call them salchichas. And you cut them up and you put them into your eggs. Like into the mix where you're like scrambling your eggs, basically.
Tyler, I have a question about New York.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went, I did not see one house. Not one house.
It depends where you go. If you're in the city area, you're not going to find houses. But like I live in Staten Island and over there. I live in the apartments though. I live in housing because, I'm from a low income family. But if I go from here to like my living room, you will see what's that? Houses all around the surrounding area. And if I walk further out, there's houses. Mm-hmm.
Because something baffled me because I knew like Beyonce and there's mansions there, and I was like, where are these things? Because literally, I can't even see one house, let alone a mansion. Oh my god,
there's
you got
also
your
like upstate. Oh yeah, he's there. Hi, Buster, say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
There you go. Now you can stand like a squirrel. Yep, he was pretty popular. My sister left her spaghetti. She's slick. She ate all the meatballs and left all the noodles. Yeah. Oh, look, Apple Jacks. More Apple Jacks. I'm eating them. My sister's just walking around with her bib. Let me see if I go to my parents' room. They have the TV on and nobody's watching the TV. Look at me in the mirror. I'm all dressed crazy like.
That's literally me.
But yeah, you could see like the houses over there. I live in like housing, so you get like these buildings. I'm on the 3rd floor, but you can see the houses from across. And if I go up the hill, there's more houses.
That's awesome. It's a relief to know. Like, ever since I've been on, like, are there actually more houses in New York?
Yeah, no, there are. It's just if you're in Manhattan, it's really city-like there. I live in Staten Island, so it's more like suburban. So you don't get as tall of buildings.
I never got to go there. I was very disappointed in myself.
Oh, where
Only
to?
Staten Island. I only got to go to Brooklyn, Manhattan. I think I went past through Queens.
Brooklyn has some houses, and Queens does too. It's just every borough has like different kind of houses. Over here, you have like some nice mansions and stuff.
When I think of Staten Island, I always think of that movie with Tom Hanks in it called Big. I don't know if anyone's watched it.
Yeah, there's the ferry into Staten Island, and the ferry's free. Me, you ate all the spaghetti balls and not the, the spaghetti noodles. Okay.
I was planning on being my actual self today and being an actual girl, but because I only just came back from work.
Oh, you did? Where do you work?
I work in Hamley's toy store.
Oh, a toy store.
Event manager. So I administrate children's birthday parties and events that go on, like meet Spider-Man and stuff like that.
That sounds pretty interesting.
That's cool.
Really good. It comes with its ups and downs. I guess the one pleasure is like obviously you get to work with children, but it can become a challenge when things like loss of parents or disabilities like autism or anything like that. But
my sister suffers from autism.
I did a high school type dissertation kind of thing on autism as well.
Because I can't find it. I don't know where your phone is. My sister asked me if I've seen her phone, and I'm like, I have no idea where your phone is. I know where mine is. It's in my hand. Sorry, I don't know. She's like mad at me for not knowing where her phone is. I'm like, I
Just
don't know.
letting everyone know that it is 3:06 a.m. So,
I think Francois wants to go take a nap.
Unfortunately, it will be time to wrap up.
Maybe just not any old nap. Maybe a bear nap. Maybe you need a very long nap.
He's like, I'll join them in an hour. Let me just rest my eyes a bit. We'll
That's
probably
why
still
he's
be
not
on.
Just having a secret nap.
Yeah, it's only 1 o'clock here in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. here.
Oh, I hear him. Yeah, you gotta do the SpongeBob kind of snoring. You know how he goes. Like,
Skylar, what are you saying, Skylar? I think I hear Skylar. Oh, sorry, I think I fell asleep, guys. Hi.
Hi.
Francois, you were
It was so funny. He was so muted for a while.
Yeah. So, Dario, what did you say?
So basically, at work when I'm entertaining children, I have to do an accent, and you were my inspiration for the accent today. I mean, you were explorers in Safari, so I made everyone be Australian.
Thank you.
That's so funny. By the way, Francois, I can't track the thing anymore because it's out of the US completely. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll certainly let you know when it gets here.
Okay. Because I asked them in the post, I was like, am I going to know when it gets there? And they're like, no, once it leaves the US, you won't know. I'm like, well, then how am I supposed to know it's going to get there? Like, I was having like mini panic attacks in the post office.
It's so interesting that you say that, though, because I ordered something online from the US, and I asked them where it was, and they said, "Oh, sorry, it's left America." I said, "Okay, that's great. Do you know where it is?" And they said, "No, once it leaves America, we just don't know where it is."
That's weird.
Yeah,
because
because everyone's like system is so different.
I get updates through email when I've ordered something online. I'll get updates in email, and it'll tell me when it's checking to certain points and places.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it really depends because like if you order something from someone from like New York or like through Amazon or something, then they'll like give you a better update. But like regular like post office, they're like once it leaves
Yeah.
like the US, we won't track it anymore because it's up to like their post office system to do it, and if they don't, then you just won't know. Like every system works differently. So I'm like, okay, but it's gonna get there, right? And they're like, if you wrote the address right, and I'm like,
I
okay.
hope so.
Well, I'll definitely let you know when it gets here.
Yeah.
I have a question in Australia.
Yeah.
Is it true that you guys don't have Doritos?
The what?
Doritos, we have them.
Yeah, we have Doritos.
Okay. Do you guys have all the Dorito flavors, like the blue ones, the red one, and the purple ones?
Purple?
I don't
Just
know.
purple.
I don't know if we do.
Well, I don't get purple. I'm missing out here.
There was a
Grandmother ate
special.
licorice.
There was like a special blue series that came out here. But other than that, it's just the regular color.
Yeah.
Yeah, here like there was like the red and blue are like the common, but like the purple one is like a special flavor, and it's supposed to be like a hot flavor, like a spicier flavor.
I know something that you guys,
Yeah,
I know
Yeah.
something that Americans and Australians don't get, and I feel so sorry for you because it is the best chocolate in the world. And
what
it is
chocolate?
dairy milk.
Oh, you gotta be kidding. We do get that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not special. You get it.
It is.
That's
It's
so funny.
really, really good. And it's much sweeter than the American chocolate I've tried.
I hear it's really
I'm so
creamier
sorry,
as
but-
well.
America
sorry, what?
does not do chocolate right. I'm sorry. They don't do chocolate.
There's different like chocolate places here in New York that are just native to New York, and you can't get them unless you're in New York or like you're sending it out from New York, which is pretty cool because there's like some really old handmade chocolates and stuff, and they're to die for.
I feel oh, I don't know. One thing that I love
I
about
see
New York,
Francois on the camera.
Yes.
Oh.
I have a lot of love for all my beautiful comment belows, and let me know but if Francois T doesn't get to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, for us. I'm very tired too.
Yeah. But honestly, this has been great. I'm so glad that Dario, that you were able to join us. Angels was trying to join us, but she has unfortunately she's still waiting for a cab. But we love you, Angels. Big shout out to you. We love you.
love you, Angels.
So what I thought, instead of doing a moment of silence, I thought I would go to everyone, and if you guys wanted to say something in closing, that would be great. So we'll start with Dario. If you want to say anything in closing.
I'm going to say what I said all my life, and it's a very important quote that I always say, and it is, confidence is the key to success.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Excellent. And a big shout out to everyone. So whereabouts are you in England, Dario?
Manchester.
Big shout out to everyone in Manchester. Thank you, Dario, for representing. Sarah, is there anything you would like to say?
Well, I don't have a super awesome quote like Dario, so the tide is 3:12 a.m. But yeah, I'm glad I got to join in again. There wasn't many people to begin with, but then a few more people jumped on, so that was good. Francois and I stayed on a little bit longer than we were going to, but that's okay because it was fun for everyone to join in and have a chat. So yeah. And we'll do it again.
Absolutely, no, I definitely echo that. It was just quickly before I go to Skylar, I just want to say, yeah, when Sarah and I first came on here, it was just Sarah and I and no one else, and we were just coming up with stuff to say. It was really funny. But yeah, so definitely go back and watch that. I'll now pass over to Skylar. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I don't have, like Sarah, I don't have a quote. I could think of one, but yeah, I don't have any. It's gonna be Dario. Dario's gonna be the quote guy. Thank you guys for having me. It was fun. We talked about charms. We might have spoiled a few things, you know, but it's okay. It's okay. It just gets you more anxious. No, I definitely spoiled stuff. It wasn't just only Dario. I think before Dario came on, I was like, oops, I said a little more than what I should have. That's okay. We talked about a mix of things, and yeah, no, it was a very fun chat. I like woke up and I was like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? I was like, oh, there's a link I can join. I'm gonna join. And then in the process of us like talking earlier this morning, I was like brushing my teeth and I was muting myself so I could do my like daily morning routine.
Secret.
I know. I muted because I was like, it'd just be weird. I feel like it's always weird to watch, even on TV when you watch people brush their teeth. You don't even see the toothpaste, and I'm like, you're not brushing your teeth. But yeah, so no, thank you guys for having me. It was so much fun, and I look forward to our next chat, which is the Fosters would be, right? It would be the Fosters.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. It is.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Callie to annoy me because she never ceases to surprises me, and I'm going to be so mad at Gabe and what's this bitch name, Courtney, and
yes.
I don't even want to reflect because they got me so upset. So I'm looking forward to the Fosters again on Tuesday.
Oh,
so
excellent.
I can rant.
Excellent. Now that'll be great. It'll be good to talk about it. It's the only current TV show that we follow. So yeah, that'll be really, really good. Oh, excellent. Well, thank you, Skylar.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone else who joined us today. It's been a really fun yet crazy chat, and that's what we love about our Comment Below and Let Me Know's family. So thank you.
President A for jumping in before and giving a lot of questions through chat.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. Thank you, President A, for... And yeah, an alias. Oh, and Ben jumped on, so thank you, Ben. Yeah. And thank you to Angels for trying to get here. We love you.
Yeah, we do.
Mi amor.
I guess in honors of Angels, maybe I'll say, hello, want to send it in? So that way you know I'm going to say it.
Morning, I'm not sorry.
Perfectly done. All right, you guys. Well, I'm so sorry that we have a thing called a time zone over here, but it does mean that we have to go to bed while you guys get to enjoy the day. But I will definitely see all of you for the Fosters chat, hopefully. And yeah, in the meantime, thank you all once again. Big hugs, big kisses to all of you, and I'll see you all again very soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.